Are those swords stabbing me? What's this thing in my hand? Or is it my head? Is this me? Then it hits him. Yes, it is him, but he's no longer human. He's just a suit of armor. And this, right here, is the beginning of ZhangBao's insane journey. The leader of the ZhangXian sect, reduced to nothing but armor without a body. But how did he end up like this? Let's roll it back. The ZhangXian sect was under attack by a powerful four-eyed demon. Zhang, being the leader, wasn't about to sit back and watch his people die. So he did what any true leader would do. He gathered his chi and charged headfirst into battle. But this demon, he wasn't playing fair. He cast some strange, dark magic that resulted in Zhang's soul to be ripped from his body and trapped inside a suit of armor, and not even in his own world. Now stuck in this new world, with no body and no chi, Zhang's one thought is revenge. He tries to use a transportation skill to get back, but it fails, because he's just armor now. His chi, all of it was left behind in his body. Without it, secret techniques are useless. And in front of him, a battlefield. Soldiers are locked in a brutal fight against what looks like an army of cursed armors. They're clearly struggling, but then hope appears. Princess, while their commander, steps up and rallies the troops by reminding them of the third rule of knighthood. She talks about how these cursed armors have slaughtered everything in their path, and the only way to end it all is to find and use Excalibur, the legendary sword. The soldiers' spirits are reignited. They scream their war cries and charge into the cursed army. While all this is happening, Zhang is still stuck thinking, how does he get his chi back? That's when he notices something. Wile's sword. It's glowing with chi. A magic weapon. Magical items naturally absorb chi from the world. If Zhang could just get one of those. After the soldiers win the battle, Zhang doesn't waste a second. He bolts in, grabs Wile's hand, and just straight up asks her to lend him the sword. Of course, her personal guard, Carl, isn't having it. He shoves Zhang back, and since Zhang is just armor, his head literally rolls off. That's when everyone panics. Makes sense though. How else would you react to a moving, talking suit of armor? The soldiers surround him, assuming he's one of the cursed. But what really freaks them out is that this cursed armor is talking. Carl goes for the kill. Zhang dodges. Then Wile jumps in and manages to land a clean hit. That confirms it. Her sword is 100% a magical weapon. But things go from bad to worse. More cursed armors start showing up. Wile and Carl jump into action, cutting down enemies. But Wile starts running out of stamina. She's surrounded. She's too tired to fight back. One cursed armor smacks the sword out of her hand, and it lands right in front of Zhang. The moment he picks it up, something changes. His chi starts flowing again. Not a lot, but just enough. Zhang dashes in, slicing through the enemies surrounding Wile. He's using them like training dummies, getting back into form. More cursed armors show up, but he's on another level. It looks like he's dancing through the battlefield. What no one realizes is that he's watching the flow of chi inside each cursed armor and hitting their exact weak points. When the dust settles, Wile wants answers. What does this talking armor really want? Zhang tells her straight. He has no ill intent. But since he saved her, he's keeping the sword. He gathers his chi, tries the ZhangXian sect's secret technique, Avenue of Reincarnation, hoping to travel back to his world. But then the sword shatters. It couldn't handle the technique. Not enough chi. Wile, though, is both curious and cautious. She's never seen a cursed armor with a name or one that talks. Zhang makes it clear. He's not their enemy, but he's not exactly their friend either. That's when Wile makes him an offer. Want to form an alliance? Zhang agrees. As long as they can provide him with more magical weapons, he'll stick around. Wile explains their mission, they're heading toward a castle. Legend says Excalibur lies within, and it's the only weapon that can truly end this cursed armor nightmare. If Zhang helps escort them there, she'll give him whatever he wants. Carl isn't thrilled about this deal. He doesn't trust Zhang, but Wile shuts him down with solid logic. Zhang saved them, and they can't exactly stop him either. Just then, more cursed armors show up near the castle. Zhang doesn't wait. He rushes in, tearing through them like paper. Finally, they reach the castle. Zhang asks about the origin of Excalibur. Wile explains, it's a sacred treasure that was blessed before thousands of believers on the holy day. Only those who are chosen can wield it. As they step inside, they see bodies. Well, suits of armor now, people who tried to claim the sword but failed. And right there, standing tall in the middle of it all, is Excalibur. Just by sensing the chi coming off it, Zhang already knows this thing isn't ordinary. Its level is way beyond anything they've seen so far. Neil makes it clear, only a true king can pull that sword out. Since ancient times, countless people have tried. All of them failed. And the bones lying all around Excalibur? Yup, those are the remains of the ones who couldn't survive the attempt. Still, Wile feels the pressure. She knows they need that sword, so she steps up and reaches for it. The moment her fingers touch the hilt, her life force starts draining fast. The sword is literally sucking the energy out of her. She starts doubting herself. Maybe I'm not worthy after all. But before she can get fully consumed, Zhang steps in and shoves her away from the sword. Everyone's stunned, Wile especially, because Zhang not only touched Excalibur, he actually suppressed it. The issue isn't that Wile, or the other so-called kings, weren't worthy. It's that no one in this world understands chi. Excalibur absorbs chi from anyone who touches it, and if you can't control that flow, the sword will suck you dry and leave you as bones. But Zhang no ordinary guy. He's the strongest chi practitioner ever. So when he grabbed that that sword, instead of being drained, he dominated it. Zhang warns everyone that a new cursed armor horde is on the way. So while he keeps controlling Excalibur, the rest of the group runs out to hold the line. But leading the enemy charge is something massive, the grizzly bear's cursed armor, a towering beast of metal and rage. The thing lunges straight at the princess, claws out. Zhang sees it coming and swoops in and saves her using Excalibur. And then something insane happens. Zhang feels it. Excalibur is pulling in every drop of chi from the world around him. Not just the natural chi in the air, but even the chi flowing inside the cursed armors. Even the grizzly bear's cursed armor. Its chi starts draining into Zhang through the sword. He focuses, suppresses the chaotic flow, and transforms it, using that massive energy to rebuild his own body from the inside. With one clean swing, he literally slams the monster into the ground. Now here's the thing about chi. If you can rearrange and reconstruct its flow, you can create entirely new techniques. To prove it, Zhang activates the Tsang Xiansek's secret move, Fire Infusion. He channels all the gathered chi into the blade and releases a devastating slash, engulfing the giant cursed armor in flames and annihilating it on the spot. While watches in complete disbelief, she just witnessed an outsider, someone not even from their world, master Excalibur like it was tailor-made for him. This sword that no one could even touch, Zhang's now wielding it like it's part of his soul. Now that his body's absorbed enough chi, Zhang thinks, alright, this has got to be enough now, and tries the transportation secret technique to get back to his world. But again, nothing. Still stuck. Man really doesn't waste a second. Every time he gets a power-up, he instantly tries to go home like someone checking if the Wi-Fi came back. But Zhang figures it wasn't enough chi yet, so he heads outside, eyes locked on the cursed armor army. He's gonna absorb more. He has to. While watching all this unfold, is left wondering. This guy, who even is he? He drew Excalibur. He mastered its power. Could he be the king we've been waiting for all along? Wal was cautious. She knew there was no way she and her army could take on this many cursed armors. But not Zhang. Our guy dashed in like he didn't even notice the danger. Every time he brought down one of those cursed armors, he absorbed their chi, getting stronger with every swing. Then suddenly, a notification popped up from Excalibur, asking Zhang to approve. Apparently, he'd obtained a new knight. While Weil and her army were getting overwhelmed, things went from bad to worse. More grizzly bear cursed armors showed up, and the battlefield looked hopeless. But Excalibur was still flashing that same request to Zhang. Finally, he approved it. The second he did, all the cursed armors that had died by Excalibur's blade suddenly stood back up. But they weren't enemies anymore. Now they were fighting for Zhang, protecting the princess and tearing through the enemy ranks. Zhang was literally commanding his own cursed armor army, using the sword like a general with his troops. Turns out, that's one of Excalibur's hidden techniques. Zhang can control any corpse taken down by its blade. While watching this unfold, was stunned. And then she remembered something from long ago. When she was younger, a mysterious man once told her about the legendary King of Knights. According to the tale, the King of Knights was a hero who would shine with brilliant light on the battlefield, wielding Excalibur to split the heavens. Back then, it filled her with hope. But the man also told her that a real king needs more than strength. They need other hidden qualities too. She snapped back to the present when Carl called out to her, pointing out that Zhang and his risen army were absolutely crushing the cursed monsters. What surprised, while even more, was her own soldiers. Just moments ago, they were drained, barely standing. But now, they were charging back into the fight with renewed energy. The fear and exhaustion in their eyes were gone, replaced with hope, thanks to Zhang. And at the center of it all was him, lifting Excalibur high, gathering even more chi. With his power returning, Zhang was feeling like himself again. He summoned lightning from the sky and fried wave after wave of cursed armors with explosive force. Wal saw it all, and she knew. The one in front of her was no ordinary warrior. He was the one from the legend, the King of Knights. Soldiers began chanting his name, rallying around the man who had given them strength and courage. And then, like clockwork, Zhang tried the transportation technique again, and yup, it failed. At this point, you've got to laugh. Every time he gets a power-up, he's like, alright, let's try again, and then still stuck. But this time, Excalibur spoke directly to him, sword bearer. Suddenly, Zhang's consciousness was yanked into another realm. And just like that, he was back to his original human form. The place around him was grand, like a divine hall, Camelot Hall, the inner realm of Excalibur. Then she appeared. A beautiful woman stepped toward him, calling him sword bearer, and introducing herself as the spirit of Excalibur. Her name? Vivian. She told him, since he can wield the sword, that makes him her master. Zhang was caught off guard. He's met plenty of magical weapons with consciousness before, but they usually take weird forms. A floating eye, a shadow, a voice. This was the first time the consciousness appeared as a person, and a very human one. Even more shocking, this space, a fully independent realm inside the sword, is made entirely from chi and mental energy, which is also why Zhang looks like his old self in here. Then she summoned a single candle, asking him to take a good look at the flame. She said this flame represented all the chi he currently possessed. And that's when it finally made sense. In order to activate the transportation technique, he doesn't just need a little chi. He needs enough to light the entire entire Camelot Hall. That's why it never worked. Zhang looked a bit down hearing that, so Vivian tried to cheer him up by patting his head. Then came a twist. Vivian told him those cursed armors don't stand a chance against the bearer of Excalibur. And as for that four-eyed loser, he'll be defeated by Zhang too. Wait, Four Eyes? That name triggered something. Zhang's eyes went wide. Could it be? The four-eyed demon who destroyed his world, wiped out his sect, and cast that spell that dropped him into this one? Yup, same guy. Vivian confirmed it. The demon who started the cursed armor calamity? That's him. The very one Zhang's been burning to take revenge on. Zhang looked more fired up than ever, and Vivian, watching his face and said his determined expression looked so good it boosted her morale. Apparently, it's her duty as a servant to praise him to lift his mood. With that, Zhang asked her to send him back. Vivian got close, smiled, and promised she'd always be by his side until he becomes king. Zhang didn't really care about being a king. Leading the Tsang Xin sect was exhausting enough, but Vivian told him, then just treat it all like a dream. Because whether he likes it or not, once a king, always a king. And when Zhang opened his eyes again, stepping out of the inner realm, everyone was bowing to him. Princess while Karl, the soldiers, all of them on their knees, while looked up at him and called him the one who commands the cursed armors, the chosen wielder of Excalibur, the brilliance on the battlefield, the one who splits the heavens. And with unwavering voices, they begged him to save their land, to end the cursed armor plague, and to accept his role as the King of Knights. Zhang's just standing there, surrounded by people who literally just tried to kill him not long ago, calling him a cursed armor and everything. And now, they're bowing to him like he's their savior. Zhang's confused like, weren't you guys just attacking me? While quickly apologizes and explains that the moment he wielded Excalibur, it became clear he's the chosen one, the king. Zhang lets it go, but he wants answers. He asks about the origins of the cursed armor. Karl's caught off guard like, wait, you don't know? Zhang then reveals the truth. He's not from this world. He was transported here from another one. Whilst totally lost, doesn't understand what he means, but Zhang just wants to know where these monsters came from. So here's the story. 10 years ago, something strange appeared in the sky. Right after that, monsters started swarming the land, attacking anything alive. Because of their appearance, people started calling them cursed armors. These things wiped out entire regions, destroyed nations, left nothing behind. And according to the survivors, the one leading all of them is a colossal four-eyed demon, which confirms it 100%. It's the same demon from Zhang's Miram world, the same one who killed his clan and tossed him into this world. Now about Weil and her group's plan. They originally came here to get Excalibur, then move north to King's Stone, regroup there, and keep heading toward the heart of the calamity for the final battle. King's Stone itself was one of the first places destroyed by the cursed armors, so if there are any survivors left, they might know more about the demon's whereabouts. But yeah, cursed armors are still crawling all over the place. Time to move out. On the road, the soldiers are visibly uneasy. And can you blame them? A squad of cursed armors, ones that Zhang had killed earlier, are now calmly marching behind them. Even weirder, some are carrying Zhang while he's meditating. Yep, this dude is just chilling in a meditative trance, being toted like royalty by monsters. Now about that meditation, it's not just sitting still. It's the process of breathing in, breathing out, sensing the 5 elements of heaven and earth, and drawing in the spiritual chi of nature. It's the basic technique for gathering chi. It's slow but powerful. Little by little, Zhang is building up his energy, and while meditating, his consciousness shifts into the inner realm of Excalibur. And of course, Vivian is right there waiting for him. The moment he appears, Vivian leaps into his arms, all cheerful like it's a reunion. But now, something new. The cursed armors that Zhang has approved are also present in this inner realm. Vivian explains that their chi is now part of Zhang's pool, and the little candle flame that represents his power is noticeably brighter. But still, by his world standards, he's only at the beginner level. And while Vivian is enjoying being carried like a princess, she says it's just her way of showing obedience to her master. Zhang's just trying to level up, and this sword spirit's acting like a spoiled girlfriend. Back in the real world, Weil had even prepared soup for him, but then realized he can't eat. Dude's still a suit of armor, but Zhang found a way. He converts the food into chi directly. Weil tried copying him and totally failed. Anyway, they finally arrive at King's Stone. And of course, cursed armors show up and our guy Zhang goes straight into action, cutting them down and approving their seals to collect more chi. In front of them are massive stone statues, 11 of them. Weil explains they represent the greatest kings this land has ever known. These kings once gathered here to decide who among them was the greatest. But since the calamity, no one's heard from any of them. Then hope, there are survivors here. But the moment Zhang approaches to ask about the four-eyed demon, a huge armored knight comes crashing in and attacks. The knight is dead set on killing Zhang, thinking he's just another cursed armor. Zhang dodges, counters, and lands a clean hit, knocking off the knight's helmet. Underneath is an old, worn-out man, exhausted but familiar. This is King Roth, one of the 11 kings. Turns out, Roth has been protecting the last of the survivors in secret. When he saw Zhang leading a group of cursed armors, he panicked and assumed the worst. One of the soldiers nearby is stunned, like, wait, this old dude is the King Roth, the most influential influential monarch of Kingstone? Roth smiles faintly, seeing Weil, mentioning how the last time he saw her, she was just a baby in his arms. Weil, fired up, tells him everything, how she's been fighting the cursed armors, how she won't back down, and asks Roth to join them. That's when Roth drops the heartbreaking truth. The 11 kings did form an alliance, but they were all wiped out by the cursed armor army. Roth is the last one standing. His face darkens. He says he's proud of Weil for keeping her courage. But then he says something that chills everyone to the bone. The cursed armor calamity can never be stopped. Roth explained with a heavy heart that the united forces of the 11 kings were annihilated, their attempt to stop the cursed armor army ending in failure. There's no one left strong enough to challenge them. Not even the legendary knights of King's Stone remained. All of them perished. Roth is the last one standing. The next mission was clear. He insisted they escort the remaining survivors to the church, stating it's the only safe place left in the entire capital, and that all the remaining people are gathered there. Among the survivors were some so traumatized by the slaughter they couldn't even speak properly. Roth bitterly pointed out that the source of their anxiety might be standing right in front of them, Zhang. And of course Zhang, being Zhang, tried to lighten the mood and show that he's harmless, striking funny poses and trying to look non-threatening in his cursed armor form. Still, Roth didn't buy it. Despite everything Zhang had done, Roth coldly declared that a cursed armor is still a cursed armor, and warned that if Zhang ever turns, he won't hesitate to cut him down. As they moved toward the church, Roth's expression shifted from grim to confused. They should have been swarmed by cursed armors by now, but it was strangely quiet. Roth couldn't believe it, but the reason was simple. Zhang had been quietly massacring every cursed armor along the way. Suddenly, a cursed armor appeared. This one was different. It wielded a sword and tried to sneak up on Zhang. It felt off, as if something far more sinister resided within. But it didn't matter. Zhang effortlessly defeated it. Yet, something unexpected happened. As he absorbed its chi, the armor disintegrated, and a living body fell out. This had never happened before. Cursed armors were supposed to be hollow, not inhabited. Roth's expression hardened. He explained this was a possessive cursed armor. Their basic form is empty, yes, but once they find a suitable host, they possess it, using the host's life energy to enhance their power. They finally arrived at the church. Roth looked genuinely relieved. He believed they would find more survivors inside, along with food and water. But as soon as they entered, the truth hit like a dagger to the chest. The church was overrun with cursed armor. The survivors, all of them, were already possessed. Roth's face went dark. This place, which he had fought so hard to protect, had been corrupted from within. It was the last straw. Everything was gone. His country, his knights, the other kings, even the innocent he swore to protect. Something inside him snapped. Roth, the last king, began to lose control. His face twisted into something sinister. In that moment, Zhang stepped forward, beginning to absorb the chi from the cursed armors, one by one, freeing the possessed and revealing that some of the people were still alive. But amidst the chaos, one of the survivors screamed for everyone to run, warning them about King Roth. And just like that, the final piece of the tragedy fell into place. Roth's descent into madness wasn't just grief. It was possession. The survivor revealed Roth had never been the same after that last battle. When he returned, he was quiet, distant, different. He brought them to the church promising protection, but soon after, his mood shifted violently. He began attacking them with no mercy. In truth, Roth had already been taken over by a cursed armor. But this cursed armor was far more dangerous. Weil was frozen, struggling to comprehend what she just heard. The Roth she admired had become something unrecognizable. And now, the cursed being inside Roth finally emerged in full, radiating a dark and powerful chi. Zhang stepped forward, eyes locked onto the fallen king. There was no going back now. The final showdown between Zhang and King Roth had begun. As the two clashed, Roth's armor began to transform, its surface thickening, forming a massive shell along his back that dramatically boosted his defenses. No matter how many times Zhang swung Excalibur, his strikes left no mark. Roth then channeled a wave of evil chi, reinforcing his entire body, before charging forward with crushing momentum. He pinned Zhang to the ground, the shell armor proving not only to be an impenetrable defense, but also a devastating offensive weapon. Zhang quickly gathered chi around his blade and unleashed his signature flying slash, but it bounced off uselessly. He tried again, striking the same spot, and still nothing. Refusing to give up, Zhang stepped back, focusing his energy for one more charge. Roth, anticipating the move, cloaked himself in an even thicker layer of evil chi, fortifying the shell even further. Their next collision was catastrophic. Both were shattered from the impact. But unlike Roth, Zhang's form was that of an empty shell. Using his chi, he pulled his scattered pieces together, reforming in moments. This time, he wasn't holding back. Zhang unleashed the Zhangxian clan's secret technique, lightning fall. Thunder rained down in a flash, piercing Roth's defenses. With that final blow, King Roth was defeated. As Excalibur absorbed Roth's chi, fragments of his memories flowed into Zhang's mind. He saw it all, the moment the 11 kings united against the four-eyed demon's cursed armor army. Despite their alliance, the kings were outmatched. Roth, driven by the will to survive and protect his people, battle, fought his way back to King's Stone with the last of his soldiers. But the city was already in ruins. Cursed armors had invaded, and in desperation, Roth ordered the survivors to retreat to the church while he and his men stood against the cursed tide. One by one, his soldiers fell until Roth alone remained. And then, in the chaos, the evil chi of the four-eyed demon found him. Possessed, Roth could no longer distinguish his people from the cursed enemies. His blade turned against all who stood in his way. When he finally regained his senses, it was too late. The people he swore to protect were already dead by his own hand. The burden crushed him, and the guilt twisted his soul. In the end, despite his defeat, Roth whispered a final warning. Someone else was coming. Suddenly, the sky lit up. A blinding light descended like a comet. Trouble had arrived. A new cursed armor landed, its presence overwhelming. But this one was different. This one was no ordinary foe. It was another of the 11 kings. The commander of their combined armies, King Baichi. Baichi's eyes locked onto Excalibur. Recognizing it immediately, he launched his technique, the 100 Armor Stampede. In an instant, a horde of cursed armors appeared, charging toward Zhang and the others. But Zhang, moving swiftly, shielded the survivors with his body, protecting them from the devastating assault. Just when things looked grim, Excalibur pulsed with power. By accepting it, Zhang gained a powerful new ally. And yes, you guessed it, King Roth, once a fallen monarch, had now become one of Zhang's loyal knights. Both Zhang and Roth launched forward, clashing directly with King Baichi. While witnessing their fierce determination, couldn't just stand by and watch. She raised her voice, commanding her soldiers to join the fray and support Zhang and Roth in their desperate fight. King Baichi was impressed by Excalibur's power, but in terms of raw strength, no one could rival him yet. With a cold sneer, he unleashed his secret technique, Cursed Armor Flood, and in an instant, an endless swarm of cursed armors surged across the battlefield like a tidal wave. But amidst the chaos, something unexpected happened. Despite being bound to Excalibur's control, King Roth managed to regain his consciousness. Zhang had allowed him that freedom, restoring his humanity. Zhang reminded Roth of his duty as a king, saying that death was no excuse for abandoning those who once trusted him. It was just how Zhang felt. Maybe mortals wouldn't understand it. Baichi, however, had no patience for sentiments. He targeted Roth directly, preaching about the supreme being of this world, the four-eyed demon, and how surrendering to him was the only path. Roth stood firm, urging Baichi to wake up before it was too late. He asked how Baichi thought his own subordinates would feel seeing him reduced to this. But Baichi only laughed, revealing that he had used his own men, sacrificing them to forge his cursed armor army. That was how he could summon such overwhelming forces. Zhang leapt into the air, demanding to know more about the demon's plans, but Baichi easily blocked every strike. Excalibur continued draining chi, but Baichi's power felt bottomless. It was like drawing water from an infinite ocean. No matter how much was taken, it never got shallower. Meanwhile, every swing Zhang made cost him dearly in chi. Worse still, the cursed armors under Zhang's control were being annihilated by Baichi's superior forces. In Zhang's previous world, his current cultivation level would be the 4th chi stage, but Baichi was at the 9th. The difference was colossal. Just as things looked hopeless, Princess Wal appeared behind Baichi and struck, declaring that the one unworthy of being called king was him. Baichi casually backhanded Zhang aside and taunted Weil, mocking her for siding with the wrong people, for failing to protect Carrion City as it crumbled to ruin. Then things got even worse. 3 more cursed kings appeared: King Ullins, King Khalades, and King Knots, all corrupted by the cursed armor. The odds were now 4 against 1. Zhang activated a legendary secret technique, running away. This absurdly named but highly effective ability boosted the entire party's speed, not to charge, but to retreat at lightning speed. The cursed kings aimed to destroy King's Stone, and the area was collapsing fast. As the party sprinted toward the exit, massive stone statues began falling, threatening to trap them inside. Just as Zhang moved to hold them off, Roth shoved him aside and held up the 11 statues with his body. Roth had made his choice. This was how he would repay his sins. He finally turned to Zhang and admitted something. He believed Zhang had the qualities of a true king. If anyone could bring an end to the cursed armor calamity, it was him. He shouted to Wal Tu, informing her she would grow into a worthy knight, proving that Roth had never changed, even to the very end. The party escaped, but behind them, the 4 cursed kings surrounded Roth. He laughed in their faces. For years, they'd argued over who among them was the greatest king, only to discover that the true king was never one of them. His final words echoed Zhang's own. "My words may seem baseless, but that's how I feel. Let's just say you mortals would never understand it." With that, Roth was struck down by the combined might of the 4 cursed kings. Zhang and the others managed to put considerable distance between themselves and the ruins of King's Stone. But Zhang was nearly depleted, his chi at the edge. He asked if there was a place nearby where he could cultivate, while quietly answered, there was an abandoned castle not far from here. A fallen place once known as Carrion City, the same city that was destroyed by the cursed army, the place she once called home. Baichi goes to King Ullins and asks him to find Excalibur. Ullins had to strike this dramatic pose, showing off his sculpture sculpted abs, and that god-tier physique like he's posing for a chi fitness magazine. He says their chi is too weak right now, so he can only sense the general direction of the sword. Very helpful. Not really. Now switching over to the outskirts of King's Tone, and Zhang is flat on the ground, armor shattered, body completely wrecked, like someone rage quit life, while doesn't waste a second and immediately orders her soldiers to go full Lego mode and reassemble him. No time to waste when your favorite warrior turns into scrap metal. While Zhang's knocked out, he enters Excalibur's inner realm. Vivian's there, full-on crying in his place. She goes, "Since you lost the last battle, it's my job as your servant to be sad and cry on your behalf." And just when things couldn't get any more bizarre, a McDonald's burger and fries show up out of nowhere. Like seriously, what cursed realm of fast food is this? Vivian wipes her tears and explains that the darkness in Camelot Hall represents a lack of chi. Once it was crawling with cursed knights, but now? Empty. That's because Zhang used up all their chi during the last battle. Those sealed knights? Gone. But lucky for him, Vivian didn't touch the chi he stored for his world-traveling technique. She kept it safe. Although funny enough, the shape of the stored chi has changed. Zhang notices this immediately. It used to be a little candle. Now it looks totally different. Vivian, being Excalibur's consciousness, reveals she's the one controlling how Zhang's chi gets used. And during the last battle, when all his energy was tapped out, she used the stored chi, but had to dip into his life-sustaining chi too. Yup, no wonder the guy nearly evaporated. Zhang hears that his life force dropped a bit, but just shrugs it off. He's got a mission. Revenge is calling, and he's not letting a little shorter lifespan get in the way. As for the cool part, the new shape of the stored chi means his upper limit's been raised. Vivian's the designer behind it too. Who needs IKEA when you've got Vivian crafting chi storage upgrades? Zhang reaches out, touches the chi, and energy starts swirling around him. According to him, this upper limit is just like the stages of the Tsangshin technique. As long as you break through that limit, your level stays firm no matter how much chi you burn. Currently, he's at the 7th stage. Vivian, being her cheeky self, tells him that's great and all, but he better hurry and cultivate faster. And she even hints at helping him in a very suggestive way. But Zhang knows time's tight. The 4 kings are still hunting him down, so basic cultivation won't cut it. Good thing he's finally unlocked the Tsangshin's secret technique, alchemy. With that, he can make pills to boost chi control and speed up absorption. Now all he needs are the ingredients. As soon as Vivian hears ingredients, she volunteers the weirdest stuff. Her hair, her saliva, her loving gaze. Like, girl, what kind of magical soup are we making here? Before heading back, Zhang takes a moment. Vivian may be strange, but he's truly thankful. But she does ask him something. Why didn't he absorb the chi from the female knight outside, aka while? Zhang says her chi was already low, and he's keeping her as a backup battery if things go south. Back on the surface, Zhang wakes up all wrapped in bandages with cute little flower doodles on them. He thinks, well, must have drawn these. It was Carl, and Zhang expected Carl to look like some crusty middle-aged man, but turns out, dude's actually handsome. That's twice now. What's Zoro doing in this world? Carl, being all sweet, says he drew the flowers because of the princess. Zhang, being Zhang, changed the color and pattern into something a bit more dramatic. Everyone's tired, so Carl announces he's making a meal. And you're probably wondering, how? In the middle of a forest with no supplies? Well, plot twist. Carl's armor is basically a mobile vault. Guy pulls out white bread made from hulled wheat, wild rabbit, beans, spices. Like, bruh, what isn't in there? I'm convinced his armor has secret compartments like Batman's utility belt, but with snacks. Carl whips up a feast like Gordon Ramsay of the battlefield, and everyone's eating. And Zhang, of course, steals the spice box and starts crafting pills. Not for flavor, but for chi. But honestly, nobody should eat these. They don't look edible. They look like sheep poop balls. Even Princess Well says so. Zhang explains the pills increase chi flow, absorption, improve skin, clean out your intestines. Basically the Swiss Army knife of supplements. But something's missing. He notices an ingredient is absent, and nearby he spots a replacement, but it's all withered, while identifies it as the black tulip flower. Used to be everywhere until the cursed army ruined everything. But there might still be some in Carrion Castle. She tells him the black tulip symbolizes chivalry because her hometown is where the first knight was born. Tons of people brought these flowers to pay respects, and eventually the city was overflowing with them. Zhang assumes she was the first knight. While's like, no, that's Lancelot. But here's where Zhang's brain kicks in. If absorbing King Roth's chi helped him level up, then maybe absorbing Lancelot's will push him even further. And with that, next stop, Carrion City. On the Brick continent, where the 11 kings aren't the only ones in charge. There are other rulers too, like Princess Wile's father, King Liaota. This guy was strong, fair, always stood up for the weak. Naturally, people flocked to his kingdom like it was a shelter in a storm, and over time, his city got massive, so big you could spot it from hundreds of miles away. That place, Carrion City. But not anymore, because now, it's just rubble. Not a single tower left. The cursed army turned the whole thing into dust. Now back to our crew. Even though Zhang's basically a walking armor suit, you could still tell he was suffering from chi hangover. That lingering post-battle burnout vibe? Very real. Once they reached Carrion City, all they found was a sad pile of of rocks and ash. Zhang was confused. If the legendary first knight Lancelot was here, shouldn't he have defended the city? While explained with a heavy heart, Lancelot did fight. He died in battle against the cursed army. His red armor used to strike fear into thousands, but now all that's left is a battlefield graveyard. This hit while hard. Her connection to Lancelot ran deep. He was her mentor, taught her the core value of knighthood, sacrifice. And that's exactly what he did. He died with honor. But there's no time to dwell. They have to keep moving. Zhang, ever the chi hunter, spotted a weird flower and dashed toward it like it was made of energy drinks. But turns out it was cursed. Cursed flowers are a thing now. These things started draining his remaining chi, like floral vampires. In desperation, Zhang downed some half-complete pills, hoping to recover some strength. They worked sort of. The side effects kicked in, and now he's stumbling around like a drunk grandpa looking for his shoes. As they moved further in, even more cursed flower buds showed up, and surprise, they had cursed armors inside. Soon the whole group was surrounded, and Zhang, still dealing with those pill side effects, started swinging his fists around like he was in a bar brawl. Just out here throwing haymakers with no form at all. That's when Wal noticed something. One of the cursed armors had King Clarence's symbol. Known as the King of the Rose, one of the 11 kings, but unlike his elegant title, the man was ruthless. His goal was to conquer the entire Brick continent, and if any knight disobeyed him, they'd end up on his dinner plate. Literally, dude was a monster. Among the cursed armors, one stood out. It was different, and of course, Zhang rushed at it using a secret technique that even a toddler could use, tornado punch. Even Wal had a moment like, wait, this is what a true king looks like. This cursed armor was something else though. It wasn't just swinging aimlessly, it could actually use sword techniques. But then, a twist, this armor headed toward Wal. Zhang prepped to defend her, but turns out, it wasn't attacking. It was protecting her, blocking strikes from other cursed armors. Not only that, it was even suppressing the evil chi. That cursed outer flower armor started peeling away, and underneath was a knight clad in red armor. It was him, Lancelot, alive. Wal was frozen, she couldn't believe it. Her old mentor standing right there. And poor Carl quietly handed his knee to Zhang like, here, you might need a seat. Princess is kind of busy right now. But then Lancelot started acting like a territorial cat, snapping and biting at anyone who got too close, except the princess. He was going on and on about sacrifice and honor like nothing ever changed. But something was still off. He had this aura, corrupted, tainted. Zhang could sense it too, the evil chi of King Clarence. So here's the theory. Lancelot probably faced Clarence, lost the battle, and got possessed by his chi. Inside him, a battle's been raging, his own noble chi against the corruption of Clarence. And even though he managed to suppress it for now, his soul is unstable. What's left is just his deepest memories and the beliefs that shaped who he was. While Zhang's trying to explain all this like a narrator, Lancelot's still flexing his ideals of sacrifice and honor like he's in a motivational speech. While is clearly emotional, despite everything, this is still her Lancelot. Zhang, on the other hand, pulls out Excalibur. And bro, why does it look like this sword just came back from a very private battle? It's all scratched up like it saw things it shouldn't have. Lancelot, fired up, challenges Zhang. He scolds him for troubling the princess over petty things and demands to know, would you sacrifice yourself for your honor? Zhang's brain is running on empty. He's starving and confused but still manages to reply, well, depends on the situation, before ordering Excalibur to absorb Lancelot's chi. But Lancelot, he's mastered his chi to the point that even Excalibur can't take it. He overpowers the sword's attempt and blocks the absorption. And just like that, it's on. The showdown is about to start. Before Zhang could even swing his sword for that epic duel, our guy just fainted. The moment everyone was ready for a showdown, he face plants. Now they gotta get him the black tulip flowers so he can refine his miracle lamp poop balls, and regain his strength. Lancelot, standing over him like an angry parent, couldn't believe the princess was bothering with someone who has no sense of honor or sacrifice. But Wal stood firm. She told him Zhang is the wielder of Excalibur, a king's candidate. That name alone made Lancelot pause. He didn't expect that. Turns out, the black tulip flowers were hiding right behind the cursed flower buds. But those cursed buds sprouted legs and ran off with the flowers. Wal immediately issued orders, split up and chased them down. The rest should stay behind and protect the fainted Zhang. As for Lancelot, he's got no choice but to follow the princess. While they're running, Wal starts explaining, Zhang didn't just pull Excalibur. He used it and even unleashed secret techniques that normal mortals wouldn't even begin to understand. Stuff that not even seasoned knights could replicate. Lancelot, of course, still wasn't buying it. He couldn't trust a man who doesn't live by honor. That hit Wal hard. She reminded him. He was the one who taught her that a true king brings courage and hope. And that's what Zhang gave them when they were at their lowest. That moment, when it felt like all was lost, Zhang showed up and gave them light. She explained the black tulip flowers would help him refine his pills and bring back his chi. Lancelot's still a beast. He took down those cursed flower buds and retrieved the tulips like a proper knight. Just then the ground trembled. The flower buds didn't just scatter, they started combining. Not just them, but the land around them too, rising up like the earth itself was fusing together. Wal sprinted back and placed the black tulip tulips all around Zhang's unconscious body. Even while knocked out, Zhang started refining the pills, drawing in qi. But they weren't out of the woods yet, because now, King Clarence was here. Correction, King Clarence became Carrion City. According to the princess, Clarence once declared he'd swallow the city whole. Well, mission accomplished. His cursed form now is the city. Lancelot, furious, dashed in and called him a greedy, cannibalistic psycho, while couldn't let Clarence destroy what remained of Carrion, even if it was already reduced to rubble. As she looked around, she realized something she never expected. She was fighting alongside Lancelot again. And that takes us back 8 years ago, right here in Carrion City. Everyone was talking about Lancelot, his looks, his charisma, his strength. He was the knight everyone admired and wanted to serve. At the training grounds, Lancelot was preparing to choose who was worthy of becoming knights. That's when a 9-year-old princess walked in, dragging along a 12-year-old Carl and her cat Kitty. She boldly asked Lancelot to train her so she could become an amazing knight. Lancelot looked at her like, "Kid, this ain't a game of house." But she had a reason. Being the only child of King Liauda, she was the future heir. Still, people doubted her, just because she was a girl. She wanted to prove them wrong. A maiden tried to escort her out, but while had already gotten permission from her father. Lancelot, seeing that, agreed to train her, and told her to show up tomorrow at 5 sharp. The next day, she came in late, but promised to be early next time. That kicked off years of training. And sometimes, she did show up early, just to mock Lancelot for being late himself. 3 years passed, and though while was improving, she still had a long way to go. One day, Lancelot told her why he chose that specific training spot, the Field of Black Tulips. Because to him, they symbolize the knight's spirit: sacrifice, bravery, humility, justice, kindness, honesty, loyalty. If while wanted to be a knight, she had to carry those ideals. While then asked if black tulips were the only color, Lancelot said there might be others. She always felt they'd look prettier in different shades. That thought stuck with her. Later that night, while couldn't sleep, she had a training injury, and her cat Kitty noticed. In an attempt to comfort her, Kitty brought her a black tulip. Inspired, while remembered her dream of finding tulips in other colors, and quietly snuck into the forest. By the time the sun hadn't even risen yet, news spread. The princess was missing. Lancelot rushed out in panic, deep in the woods, while was hunting for tulips, completely unaware of the danger. And that's when it happened. The first cursed armor appeared, right behind her. The cursed armor wastes no time and lunges straight at the princess, but her cat Kitty jumps in like some tiny furry bodyguard and saves her. Just then, in the nick of time, Lancelot shows up and lands a perfect hit right on the cursed armor's weak spot. He thinks it's over, lets his guard down, but the cursed armor isn't dead. It springs back up, slashes Lancelot, and bolts. Now he's bleeding, and not just a scratch. This is serious. Lancelot has to rest, which gives the princess time to keep blaming herself, going on about how it's her fault Kitty and Lancelot got hurt for protecting her. Lancelot tries to calm her down, telling her that as a knight, giving his life for her is the greatest honor. Kitty probably thought the same thing. That's why it jumped in to protect her. Then while asks, "Is sacrifice really a good thing?" Lancelot answers with something that hits hard. The world isn't perfect, but sometimes, for the greater good, sacrifice is necessary. It can make the world better and give someone the highest form of honor. So he tells her to stop crying, keep going, and never forget the sacrifices made for her. Time passes, and now the princess spends most of her days at the training grounds. She knows she can't take care of Kitty anymore now that she's a knight, so she has her maiden gift Kitty to someone else. Poor cat, probably wondering what it did to deserve this. Soon, Lancelot, the princess, and their soldiers head to the battlefield, fighting off ruffians. In the middle of the chaos, the old chief gets badly hurt. The princess refuses to just move on and let him die, but Lancelot reminds her he's gone, and the soldiers still need her. She still refuses, so Lancelot tells her not to let the chief's sacrifice be for nothing. After driving the ruffians back, they finally get a moment to breathe. But, of course, trouble doesn't wait. A soldier rushes in saying Carrion City's been infiltrated. The whole place is burning, total chaos. At first, they think the ruffians are behind it, but no, it's the cursed armor army. Lancelot goes with the princess to find the king, but when they get to his chambers, Wyle's father is already gone. It's heartbreaking, and just when it couldn't get worse, the exit is blocked by monsters. Lancelot fights them off, protecting the princess, until Carl and some soldiers smash part of the city wall, making a small gap for her to escape. Lancelot can't go with her. He's holding the monsters back. He tells her, with her father gone, she's now the one who has to lead the soldiers. As for him, it's his turn to earn the highest form of honor. The princess cries his name, but Lancelot seals the wall behind her, trapping himself in with the monsters. She's devastated, her home, her father, her teacher, all gone. In that moment, she remembers everything Lancelot taught her. She orders Carl to gather every remaining soldier and rescue the survivors. Then she passes through the black tulip fields and keeps moving forward. And that, my friends, is how the princess we know today was forged. Back to the present. And as if King Clarence wasn't already enough trouble, the other 4 kings are here too. Zhang's chi was almost fully restored, and while was happy too, finally fighting alongside Lancelot again. But just when things things seemed steady, the three kings entered the battlefield. Turns out one of them had left earlier for a reason. Without wasting a second, Baichi lunges straight at the princess. Lancelot steps in to block, but Baichi just shoves him aside. King Clarence, already losing control, gets taken over by Baichi, who reminds him about the four-eyed lord who gave him this power, then orders him to use it to fulfill the lord's goals. And now, with the other kings joining in, their combined power makes it impossible for the princess and her group to win head-on. Lancelot reacts quickly, smashing parts of the castle to bring down rubble and block their path, buying just enough time for everyone to escape. Once they get far enough, the princess notices Lancelot isn't with them, and worse, the cursed armor army is still on their trail. Lancelot stayed behind to hold the kings off. She freezes because she knows exactly what this means. He's trying to pull the same sacrifice he did in the past. Frustrated and refusing to let history repeat itself, she turns back toward the city to fight with him. She's angry, thinking she had changed things, but here they are again. Just when the cursed armors are about to overwhelm her, a massive chi-shaped tortoise appears, shielding her. And no, it's not really a tortoise. It's the sign of chi cultivation completion. The suit of armor is finally awake and ready for action. Zhang immediately senses it, along with the fact that all four kings are present and Lancelot is barely holding on. He looks at Weil and straight up asks if she just left Lancelot to die. She says she was on her way back, but Zhang can feel from her chi the hesitation and the weight of her loss. She explains it's because she respects Lancelot's view on sacrifice, remembering everything he taught her. But Zhang cuts her off. Sacrifice means death. Does she want him to die? She shouts back through her tears that even if honor is everything to Lancelot, she doesn't want him dying for it. Without another word, she runs straight back toward the fight, and Zhang, now overflowing with chi, follows right behind. On the battlefield, Lancelot is clashing with Baichi, but Baichi is clearly the stronger one here. Thankfully, Zhang arrives just in time to block Baichi's sword. And the very first thing Zhang thinks about? Absorbing Lancelot's chi so he can bring him under Excalibur's control. Lancelot refuses, saying Zhang hasn't proven he can wield it. They start arguing in the middle of the fight, Lancelot going on about the importance of sacrifice, while Zhang fires back, asking if he's ever thought about how the princess feels. Zhang tells him flat out she doesn't want him to die, and his stubbornness is just causing her pain. He admits he used to be just like Lancelot, ready to throw his life away for the people around him, but now he's learned that living and moving forward with those who matter is something to be proud of. Zhang steps forward, raising Excalibur brimming with chi, and strikes at Baichi. He tells Lancelot that Weil chose to trust and follow him, which makes her someone important worth protecting and surviving alongside. Then he makes the offer. Why not join forces? Lancelot finally agrees, though you can tell it's with an eye roll. Man, what a hassle. When Lancelot admits he doesn't understand Zhang's view of honor, Zhang just shrugs and says, mortals will never be able to understand. Now, standing side by side, Excalibur starts absorbing Lancelot's chi, meaning Zhang's about to add one very powerful knight to his army. Baichi was convinced nothing would change, even if these two fought together. But the moment Lancelot's sword came down, the impact told a different story. This time, his attack actually worked. His power had gone up, and the reason was clear: Zhang and Excalibur. Because Lancelot agreed to let Excalibur connect with him, Zhang's chi could flow into his body, making him stronger. Now, he didn't fully submit to Zhang, but his mind felt sharper than it had in a long time. That's what happens when Zhang's chi purifies the evil chi inside you. On top of that, his armor was no longer cursed. Lancelot pulled off his helmet, taking a breath. Suddenly, King Clarence charged straight for the princess. Zhang stayed behind to hold off the three kings, while Lancelot dashed forward to shield Weil. Before Clarence could even touch her, Lancelot's blade slashed through, forcing him back. The princess could see it. This was the Lancelot she remembered. With that, Lancelot's memories came flooding back. He remembered the ambush in Carrion City, the cursed army closing in, and Clarence taking control of him, erasing his memories. Clarence came at them again, and Lancelot started to talk about sacrifice, only for Weil to step in front of him, blocking the attack herself. Even she'd had enough of the sacrifice speech. This time, she was going to fight alongside him. Clarence's massive flower-shaped hand shot forward, trying to devour them all. Lancelot shoved her out of the way and took the blow himself. Zhang, on the other hand, was still holding his ground against Baichi. Thanks to a stash of black tulips, their energy started reacting with the stored pills in his body, supercharging his chi recovery. Baichi noticed the change. Zhang's power had reached the 9th chi cultivation level. Still, Lancelot was struggling to hold Clarence back, and that's when Zhang pushed some of his chi into him. Instantly, Lancelot overpowered Clarence's flower arm and knocked it away. The princess explained that this was the true power of Excalibur, a weapon only King Zhang could wield, and she told Lancelot she believed he could end the cursed armor calamity. She wanted him to trust them. Lancelot fell silent, thinking about everything. As the first knight, he had always asked others to trust him and had been willing to sacrifice himself for them. But now he realized he had strong companions, people who trusted him in return. That was enough. He charged toward Zhang and asked to borrow his power. Once they connected, Zhang and Lancelot unleashed a combined strike on King Clarence, finally bringing him down. Lancelot thought back to the day he sacrificed himself for the princess. He had wanted her to live with a knight's greatest honor, to stand tall and move forward. But deep down, he had also wished for her to live as a normal girl, free from the weight of duty. Now, with trust finally between them, he asked Zhang if he could truly trust him completely. Zhang told him yes. Lancelot bowed, surrendering to Excalibur. When Zhang began absorbing his chi, the surge was overwhelming. With this much power, he could push beyond the 9th cultivation level. But there was no time to dwell on it. The three kings attacked together with their full strength. Even so, with the chi he now possessed, Zhang could draw on the power of the heavens and the chi of the earth. He unleashed a secret technique, the exploding fiery heavens, creating a massive fire tornado with devastating burst power, wiping out all three kings at once. The black tulip petals Zhang carried turned white, a sign of new hope and a new ideal taking root. Even though our crew had just pulled off a win, the fight wasn't really over. King Clarence was still alive, though he wasn't towering over them anymore. Zhang explained his huge form was nothing but foreign objects glued together with evil chi, and with that gone, he'd shrunk back to normal size. The other three kings? Still alive too. Before anyone could even breathe, a huge army came marching in, Karl at the front, with a full human army behind him. Leading them was a woman in black armor, a nun knight. She and her troops moved in to finish off the three kings, but then the fourth king, Ullens, showed up. His buddies were shocked. He ditched them earlier, and now here he was again. Ullens said it was all by the Four-Eyed Lord's orders, and just like that, told them to retreat and regroup. He spread his wings, scooped up his fellow kings, and they were gone. With the enemies gone, the nun knight turned to Weil and introduced herself as Elena from the Cabin Kingdom. While noticed the soldiers behind her weren't all from Cabin, Elena explained they were a coalition, soldiers from Gaul, Benwick, and more. The princess was clueless about this coalition until Elena asked if she'd heard the voice of miracles. Through the power of God, the Archbishop had sent a message across the entire Brit continent. What the hell is Kratos doing in this story? Honestly, this manhwa is on another level. Zhang knew the technique was a lot like a chi transmission, while added that only monks seemed able to hear it, so none of her soldiers caught it. The message was simple. The Archbishop had found the key to defeating the four-eyed demon, but he was trapped inside Kingfisher Castle. Those who heard the call formed a coalition to save him. On the way, they clashed with the cursed army and, against all odds, defeated their leader, King Mars, one of the 11 kings, but they'd taken massive losses. They were now gathering men and horses, and Elena suggested they all head to Kingfisher Castle together. While turned to Zhang for his take. Our guy thought it through. This coalition probably had some strong warriors with chi worth absorbing, and the Archbishop clearly knew chi techniques. No reason to turn it down. Before they left, Karl threw together a feast to celebrate Lancelot's return. Zhang, of course, was meditating instead of eating. Lancelot assumed he was human under that armor, so he yanked off the helmet, only to find the suit completely empty. And because that wasn't awkward enough, he started playing around with the helmet. That's when his consciousness got yanked into Excalibur's inner realm, where he finally saw Zhang's true form. Vivian, our resident spirit, wasted no time, asking Zhang why he was bringing a third wheel into what should be their private space. She then sauntered over to Lancelot, saying he wasn't her type, but maybe she'd have a little taste, obviously trying to make Zhang jealous. Didn't work. Zhang calmly explained the place to Lancelot, while Vivian complained that he barely talked about her. Since Lancelot had just sworn to obey every one of Zhang's orders, Zhang decided to have some fun, ordering him to strip and do a handstand. The scene was priceless. After absorbing Lancelot's chi, Zhang unlocked Air Surge, a technique that could give him and Excalibur a huge temporary boost, like when he fought by chi. Back in the real world, Lancelot was stuffing himself so much that he started puking. Vivian, ready to boot them both back to the surface, teased Zhang that he could bring more handsome men next time, but her heart would always belong to him. She also warned him not to rely too much on his secret techniques, but refused to explain why. Apparently still salty, he didn't get jealous earlier. A few days later, they arrived at the coalition camp, and it was massive. Elena explained there were fighters from over 20 countries here. Nearby were piles of cursed armor remains, all wiped out by the soldiers. Right in the middle was what was left of King Mars after his death. Ahead was Kingfisher Castle, with a strange light shining from it, the Archbishop's chi. Elena told them only leaders and their aides could enter, and weapons were banned. Zhang left Excalibur with Lancelot and went in with Weil. Elena then asked if Zhang was the ruler of Carrion now. Elena clarified they were just working together, though she believed Zhang could be the true king of the continent. Elena didn't agree. She said the coalition had gathered all the strongest warriors left, including kings, but only one among them truly deserved the title, the sole heir to the Cabin Kingdom throne, the Holy Knight Galahad. Before they could even step foot into Kingfisher Castle, our crew had to first swing by the grand meeting hall, where all the kings and knights had gathered. And let me tell you, it wasn't some polite political summit. Oh no, it was basically a royal shouting match. Every king was puffing his chest, arguing over which country country was the strongest, and more importantly, who deserved to march into Kingfisher Castle first. Rumor had it, according to Elena, that whoever entered first and rescued the archbishop would be crowned the true king. Front and center was King Lean, bulldozing his way through anyone in his path, acting like he already owned the place. That's when Lean spotted Weil and Zhang walking in with Elena. Elena formally introduced them as new coalition members, but Lean didn't even wait 2 seconds before insulting Weil, straight to her face. His reasoning? She was a woman leading an army. This guy actually said he could lead a pack of dogs stronger than her soldiers. Zhang insulted back, asking, "Do all the kings here have no manners?" Lean didn't like that, so he lunged at Zhang. And here's where it gets spicy. Elena had specifically told everyone not to bring weapons, yet somehow half these kings decided rules was just a polite suggestion. Not only did Lean bring a weapon, he also brought a small army with him. When Weil called him out on it, he smugly replied that nobody said close companions had to be just one person. But Zhang had a problem. After breaking through the 10th cultivation level, he had entered a breakthrough period. That meant his chi was sealed until the next stage. And just when Lean decided to get extra gross, turning to Weil and telling her to take off her armor because women were only fit to be slaves, Weil fired back with a vulgar burn so sharp it could cut steel. Your shiny ass couldn't even kill a squirrel. Zhang still couldn't use his chi, but he could control others just a bit. So what does he do? Casually rips Lean's hair clean off his head, completely bald. Lean lost it and charged, but Elena stepped in, ordering him to stand down. That's when the big boss walked in, Holy Knight Galahad, flanked by his squad of nun knights. The second they entered, the whole room went silent. Even the loudmouth kings straightened up. The man's presence was that heavy, pure aura farming. Of course, King Lean still couldn't shut up, boasting about his qualifications. Galahad simply removed his helmet, locked eyes with him, and in the most intimidating voice possible asked, "Come again." Every single king in the room bowed. That pressure they felt? Chi. Lots of it. With the meeting over, they finally approached Kingfisher Castle. While thinking the bridge ahead was safe, started strolling forward without a care. One of the kings quickly told her to back off and pointed ahead. There was a man lying there, roasted by lightning after trying to cross. The kings guessed it might be a test from the archbishop. Galahad and his nun knights removed their armor. Metal conducts electricity, after all. And well, let's just say his nuns were not lacking in curves. The kings muttered about Galahad's insane physique, his muscles carved like a statue. While curious, wondered if Zhang's real body was built like that too. As Galahad and his nuns started crossing, lightning began striking them. Zhang dashed in, using his armor body to act like a giant lightning rod, drawing every bolt to himself so the others could run across. Finally, the lightning stopped, but when Zhang looked at Galahad's face, something was off. Before Zhang could ask why, King Lean struck again. He destroyed the already weakened bridge, sending both Zhang and Galahad plummeting. Thankfully, the ground was soft enough to break their fall, but Galahad's expression didn't change. He was crying, so apparently Galahad's got himself a new nickname, Scaredy Cat Knight. The man tries to pull that same intense, "I'm gonna crush you" face to intimidate Zhang like before. Except Zhang just stares back like, "Really? This again?" And the best part, Galahad is standing there shocked it didn't work. See, his little trick is nothing more than a basic chi expulsion technique. It might spook regular mortals, but Zhang? Not a chance. Then Galahad flexes again, showing off that mountain-sized chest like he's auditioning for a medieval strongman contest. Zhang isn't impressed. He just pins the guy to the ground like he's setting down a sack of potatoes. And Scaredy Cat Knight? He's already crying for mercy. But Zhang, being the good guy he is, doesn't humiliate him further. They've got more important things to do, like finding a way back to the surface. Lucky break. There's a hole nearby that connects to the castle's sewer system. If they follow it, they should find a well that leads back up. Simple enough. Except Galahad can't stop panicking every time they pass a pile of cursed armors blocking the path. Zhang quickly figures out the twist. These are just corpses, no life in them. Still, Scaredy Cat Knight's shaking like a leaf. So Zhang asks him, why put on the tough guy act in front of everyone if this is how you really are? And here's where Galahad spills his life story. Turns out, his father was a legendary conqueror, uniting countless kingdoms under Corbenic rule. But when the old man died, Galahad inherited it all, without inheriting an ounce of his bravery or battle instincts. All those loyal kingdoms? They're just waiting for him to slip so they can snatch the throne. He tried to change, trained his body until he was built like a fortress, but inside, he's still scared. So he fakes it, uses his size and that practiced war face to make people think he's some battle-hardened veteran. And yes, he actually practiced that face in a mirror. Now he's begging Zhang to keep his secret. Zhang agrees, but then Zhang senses Elena's chi, and it's weak. Lean, that walking pile of arrogance, has just struck her down. The other kings side with him, letting him be the first into Kingfisher Castle. He even orders his men to attack Galahad's nuns. This guy really has zero honor. And Galahad? He's fired up now, not from courage, but from knowing Lean would butcher Corbenic's people just to assert his rule. Plus, Lean's got that disgusting habit of targeting women. Zhang tries to calm him down, and then notices something weird. There's evil chi coming from Galahad's pants. Zhang tears them apart and finds Galahad's been wearing rusted armor under there the whole time. That rusted metal is the chi source. Apparently, after the Alliance set up camp here, everyone's armor started rusting like this. And the chi trail leads right to King Mars. Guess what? He's not dead. He faked his defeat and is now spreading his cursed power through the sewers to possess the Alliance army above. Before they can warn anyone, cursed armors swarm them. Zhang gets to work dispelling the rust from these corpse armors, telling Galahad to handle the incoming wave. Galahad's like, me? Really? But Zhang explains, if Galahad can project a strong aura, that means he's got the chi already. His fear just keeps it locked up. So Zhang strikes key points on his body to keep that chi flowing no matter how scared he gets. And suddenly, Scaredy Cat Knight is throwing punches like a man possessed, chi blazing around his fists, smashing any cursed armor that dares get close. Meanwhile, back above ground, while steps in to defend Elena, Lean still can't shut his mouth, mocking her for being a woman and even kicking her aside, while plants her feet, declaring she'll never admit Lean to become king. She even drops the bomb. Zhang's the real king because he pulled Excalibur from the stone. The soldiers laugh it off as a fairy tale. Oh, they're about to learn. Lean charges at the princess, but right then, Zhang and Galahad burst up from the underground, ready to end this arrogant fool's reign before it starts. Elena and her squad of Elinas rush over to Galahad, all worried. You okay? She asks. Then she tries to reason with Lean. Since Galahad's still alive, they don't need to pick a new candidate to enter Kingfisher Castle. But Lean, he's done playing nice. And this time, there's a nasty swirl of evil chi around him, juicing up his power. All thanks to that cursed rusted armor, King Mars' handiwork. And here's Galahad suddenly thinking, I get chi now. I'm not scared of Lean anymore. The moment Lean steps close, back to Scaredy Cat Knight mode. Zhang, being the quick thinker, hands Galahad a helmet to cover his face, because no one needs to see that level of panic right now. While catching the vibe, literally chucks armor at the Nun Knights so they can gear up fast. Galahad slumps, feeling useless again, but Zhang hits him with some wisdom. True bravery isn't pretending you're strong. It's fighting even after you've admitted you're weak. That one lands. Then Lean pulls the classic villain move. Come at me, all of you, while immediately calls out to the other kings to join in. But of course, they freeze up, pure cowardice. Elena explains it plain. Lean's been terrorizing countries for so long, no one dares stand against him. Lean lunges at Zhang, who hasn't regained full chi control yet. But don't count Zhang out. He can still strip away Lean's evil chi. He tries, and it actually gets resisted. That's when rust starts bubbling up from below, and cursed rusted armors claw their way out from the sewers. And there he is, King Mars, the puppet master himself. He starts feeding his evil chi into Lean through that cursed armor. Lean gets even worse, biting his own soldiers to infect them too. Mars' chi completely takes over Lean's body. While thinks Lean has become Mars, but Zhang clarifies, that's just Mars' evil chi physically manifesting on Lean. Either way, not good. Lean blitzes toward Weil and the kings to corrupt their armor too, but Carl and his men arrive just in time. Then Lancelot charges in, swords flashing, rapid slashes cutting through Lean's attacks. But Mars' evil chi blocks the final strike. The rust spreads fast. Mars infects the other king's armor, turning them into his pawns. He even goes for Lancelot, but Lancelot shoves him off before the infection sticks. And then, Lancelot hands Excalibur to Zhang. The guy's still puking from Mars' earlier attempt to corrupt him, but that's actually proof he fought it off. Problem is, Zhang's breakthrough could take anywhere from 10 days to a few months. Way too long for the chaos happening right now. But there's a shortcut, a heavenly catastrophe. Basically nature's raw power. And lucky them, there's one nearby, the lightning bridge. Remember? The one that zaps anything that gets close? Exactly what Zhang needs. Just as he's about to sprint there, Lean grabs him and throws him like trash. Only the idiot actually helps. He hurls Zhang right into the lightning zone. Perfect aim, pure accident. Zhang calls it the lightning tribulation, until it hits him square on. Problem is, he's so close to breaking through but stuck at that last frustrating bit. He just needs one more solid strike. But the lightning? It's got other ideas. Instead of going for him again, it starts heading toward the other kings and Princess Weil. Perfect timing for King Mars to unleash his nasty move, Forest of Rusted Thorns. From the ground, this monstrous thorn tree erupts, wrapping everyone up so they can't escape. Now Zhang's stuck having to climb to the top, without chi. As another bolt comes crashing down, Carl steps in, shielding while like a champ. Lancelot charges toward Lean and Mars, but the corrupted soldiers block his path and explode. Turns out that's one of Mars' sick tricks. If his rust infects your armor, you basically become a walking bomb. Lean sends a wave of these exploding soldiers at Galahad, but the Nun Knights literally throw themselves in the way to protect him. Lean doesn't stop, more exploding soldiers. Then another bolt of lightning heads straight for Princess Weil. Lancelot reacts fast. He grabs Zhang and tosses him toward it, but nope, lightning decides to hit him instead. Lucky for everyone, he survives. Zhang senses where the lightning's coming from and makes a run for it. While her crew call out, telling him to keep moving, they'll cover him. Meanwhile, Galahad pipes up, asking Zhang to teach him chi control again, so he can finally protect his knights for once. Zhang's response? He decks him right in the face and tells him to help get rid of the evil rust instead. Lean shows up behind Galahad and attacks. Galahad, thinking he's slick, throws on a furious face hoping to scare Lean off. But come on, that's an old gag. Lean's not buying it. He shoves Zhang right off the giant thorn tree and is about to finish Galahad, but then he notices the lightning about to hit. With Galahad's armor basically acting like a lightning magnet, Lean decides to leave him for dead. Galahad remembers Zhang's words about real bravery. He jumps off the tree, dragging the lightning down with him toward Zhang, who's also falling. The bolt hits them both. Lean's convinced they're toast. Wrong. Zhang uses his wind heavenly technique to teleport back to the top, dragging Galahad with him. He even tweaks Galahad's chi so he survives. Zhang's officially back in the fight. Lean smirks, reminding Zhang how he beat him before, then busts out Thousand Thorns' rusted sword, rusted blades shooting up from the ground, each one ready to explode on contact. Mars starts his villain speech about how people just don't get the power of the Four-Eyed Lord, and how the only path is obedience. Lean lunges. Zhang meets him head-on with Excalibur. And now, after surviving the lightning tribulation, Zhang's in the refinement stage, incarnation phase, stage Z. With just one swing, Zhang smashed Lean straight into the ground like he was swatting a bug. Lean got back up fast, though, and unleashed his rusted spiral technique. But Zhang instantly fired off Heavenly Waterfall and followed it right up with True Fire of Hexagram. At the incarnation stage, our guy can actually chain two of Tsang Xian's secret arts back to back. That's not just convenient, it's game-changing. With that, the corrupted soldiers and the other kings snapped out of it, no longer under control. Big thanks to Zhang for that. But hold up, the fight wasn't over. King Mars turned to King Ullins and asked for some of his power. The air changed instantly. Lightning began swirling around Mars, sharper and more alive than before. That's when Weil explained the truth. Ullins isn't just any king. He's one of the 11 kings, known as the King of Lightning. No wonder the lightning felt alive and could target people on its own. Zhang launched his lightning strike, trying to clash head-on with Mars's powered-up bolts, but nothing. Now that Mars had fused with the Lightning King's power, the evil chi formed an unbreakable defense, and the lightning itself became the ultimate offense. Watching this, Galahad froze. Memories came flooding back of people calling him a coward when he was young. Instinct kicked in. He wanted to run. But Zhang appeared behind him, making it crystal clear. Run now, and everything he's done so far is worthless. Zhang told him to throw a punch, promising to back him up. Galahad clenched his fist, still confused. Why did Zhang need him when Zhang could clearly handle things himself? Then his life flashed before him. Every time trouble came, he leaned on others, never standing his ground. Something snapped inside him. He started throwing punches like a man possessed, and against all odds, he actually cracked Lean's armor. Zhang was carrying all the nun knights to keep them safe, and Galahad's over here like, bro, what exactly are you doing with my sisters? The cracks in Lean's armor weren't random. Zhang explained it. Lean had fused his armor with the lightning hexagram, which ties into the wood element. Zhang's fire and lightning arts, fire and wood couldn't touch it. But Galahad's aura carried the DUI ran hexagram, a metal element. Metal beats wood. Science, well, Miram science. Of course, nobody there had a clue what he was talking about. Different worlds, different rules. King Mars charged again, but Galahad met him with a fist to the face, smashing him into the dirt. Mars knew it was over. Grabbing Lean, he tried to retreat, but Lancelot intercepted and struck him down. Just like that, the battle ended. The storm above the bridge faded, and Weil assumed they'd taken down King Ullins too. But Zhang shut that down. What they'd fought was just a clone powered by a fragment of Ullins' strength. The real one was still out there. With Mars defeated and the tribulation gone, the path to Kingfisher Castle was finally open. Only problem, no one could decide who should enter first. At this point, even I'm yelling, just go in already. Zhang, though, took the chance to hype up Galahad's bravery and nominate him to lead the way. That's when Galahad dropped the truth bomb. He told everyone he's actually a coward who's never fought a real battle. Every story they'd heard about his feats, all fabricated by his father. In reality, it was always Elena and others who handled the problems while he stayed out of harm's way. He apologized, vowing to change and get stronger. The kings were mad at first, but after remembering his help in the fight, they chose to support him. Our scaredy-cat knight earned a second chance. In the aftermath, Galahad, the other kings, and the entire Alliance army all pledged loyalty to Zhang. And Carl's standing there realizing, great, now I'm cooking for all these people. Zhang told them to rest up. They'd storm Kingfisher Castle soon to rescue the Pope. But he warned them, Mars's evil chi had been absorbed into the castle. Stronger enemies were definitely waiting inside. Zhang steps up to the Kingfisher Castle gates like he owns the place, pushes them open, and cursed armors come charging in like they've been waiting all day for this moment. But one clean swing of Excalibur and poof, anything that gets too close is gone. And the best part, everyone who was fighting tooth and nail earlier to be first into the castle is now standing way back like, nah, you got this, buddy. King Baichi shows up, literally standing on top of massive swords like some edgy rock concert cover. He starts giving a speech about change and destiny or whatever, but honestly, the squad does not have time for his TED Talk. Zhang and Lancelot rush rush in to shut him up, while Weil and Galahad make a dash for the room glowing with light, probably where the Pope's being kept. They throw open the doors, and surprise, King Khaleds and King Knots are right there to smack them back out. And because apparently today is King Guest Star Day, King Clarence strolls in too. Turns out the four-eyed demon saw all this coming and left them a little gift. Clarence has literally eaten the entire castle. The whole thing. It's now part of him. Before Zhang can even make a move, Bai Qi launches Celestial Sword, raining down massive blades. Weil's about to get hit, but Zhang steps in to block it, and Galahad too, because apparently he's tanking for the whole party now. The only problem? While he's busy playing bodyguard, Bai Qi sneaks up and unleashes a frenzy of slashes from behind. Then he starts mocking Zhang, saying bringing others here is just slowing him down, especially now that he's facing all four kings. But that jab lights a fire in Zhang. He remembers back when he was clan master, thinking he could handle everything alone. Now he knows better. A real leader doesn't carry all the weight, he shares the fight. So, Zhang sends out a burst of chi in the shape of arrows, pointing everyone exactly where to go and who to fight. At first the party's confused, but Galahad gets it and shouts for everyone to attack. What Zhang's really doing is grouping allies by elemental advantage. If your element beats the enemies, you're going in. Weil's assigned to fight alongside Zhang against Bai Qi. Her natural water element counters his fire element perfectly. As Bai Qi unleashes another attack, Zhang tells her to concentrate. Every attack has chi points, intersections in the body where energy gathers. Hit them with the opposite element and you get critical damage. For knights, it's usually head or chest. While aims for the head, and it works. Zhang quickly calls out to Galahad and Lancelot, aim for the king's heads. The fight shifts fast. Bai Qi pulls out his corpse sacrifice technique, but Zhang just tears through it, incarnation stage power for the win. Then he leaps into the air, tells Weil to follow, and they unleash a combo, torrential waterfall plus Weil's strike, and down goes Bai Qi. But here's the weird thing. From the start, Bai Qi's been subtly guarding something behind him. Turns out the Pope's in that room. Except before they can get in, they spot a flower crown on the ground. Bai Qi freezes, clearly rattled. Why is this here? He mutters. He picks it up, and evil chi immediately starts swirling around him. That's when Excalibur itself speaks to Zhang. Vivian's chi emerges from the blade, her voice urgent. She warns him that the enemy's hiding something big, some strange force he cannot overpower as he is now, unless he can fully unleash the true strength of the Excalibur. Bai Qi is standing there, clutching that flower crown, and now he's packing the strength of the dreaded four-eyed demon. Zhang's no fool though. He tells Vivian to make sure Excalibur is running at maximum chi absorption, ready to unleash. The moment Zhang takes off, he realizes something's off. Bai Qi can now absorb chi from others, and he wastes no time doing exactly that, draining the chi from the other leaders in one go, forming this massive black ball of swirling chi. Then, without hesitation, he launches it, wiping out the entire castle, and even taking out his own comrade King Clarence. Everything's gone except for one thing, the Pope's room, which is now floating in the air. Our crew knows one thing. If Bai Qi launches that black ball again, they're done for. But don't cross Zhang off just yet, because he's still got one final card to play, unleashing the full power of Excalibur. See, Excalibur is capable of stripping the entire area of chi, but it's so strong that Zhang normally has to keep it sealed just to stop it from overwhelming him. This time though, he's done holding back. He unseals it, and instantly, the sword starts guzzling Zhang's chi like it's been thirsty for centuries. Vivian steps in with some advice. If they follow the flow of the sword's power, they might find a breakthrough. Zhang closes his eyes, and his consciousness takes on a chi form, flowing along with it. Excalibur isn't just pulling chi from their world, it's yanking it straight from Zhang's home world in Murim. Zhang refuses to let it drain that far, pushing forward, determined to bend Excalibur fully to his will. And somehow he does it. Bai Qi launches another black ball attack, but Zhang, now in full control, uses chi from his world to build a towering wall of defense. And that's when the game changes. Excalibur's range expands, letting Zhang use his chi to rebuild things at will. This new ability? Chi reconstruction. Bai Qi, trying to up the stakes, forms 3 black balls at once, but Zhang just lifts Excalibur, says reconstruct, and the balls literally dissolve into harmless smoke. Zhang charges in, ready to finish him, but Bai Qi catches sight of the flower crown again, and something shifts deep inside him. He starts burning through his own life force, trading it for even more power. His technique, infinite heavenly troops, summons wave after wave of cursed armor soldiers. But Zhang's not backing down. He uses reconstruct, sword unyielding, flooding Excalibur with even more chi until it's glowing like a star. Zhang knows the truth now. Bai Qi's power and mind are tied to that crown. Without wasting another second, he dashes in and shatters it. And then it hits. Zhang is flooded with Bai Qi's memories. He sees a time when the West was filled with unconquered kingdoms and the East threatened by relentless barbarians. Bai Qi carried the weight of protecting his people without pause. His pride and joy was his daughter, Angelica. He dreamed of passing the kingdom to her one day, and she had even made that flower crown, excitedly adding red flowers with her father by her side. But then came the war. Bai Qi faced the cursed armor army and somehow survived. But when he returned, And it was too late. The cursed army had destroyed his kingdom and taken Angelica's life. The crown now had red flowers, but they were stained with her blood. In the aftermath, the 11 kings called for his help, and he answered. But they too were crushed by the four-eyed demon. The demon took Angelica's crown and offered Bai Qi a deal: serve him, and she would be revived. Broken and desperate, Bai Qi agreed, becoming one of the cursed kings. But the demon lied. Angelica wasn't brought back. Only a fake cursed armor version was made to replace her. And maybe, for Bai Qi, that was enough to keep going, even if it was just an illusion. After Bai Qi's defeat, the crew heads deeper into the castle and walks right into the room where the Pope is supposed to be. Except, surprise, the Pope is actually a beautiful lady. She lays it out for them. All of this madness will end once someone wears the eternal crown. Then she looks straight at them and asks if the first person who entered the castle is strong enough to become the true king. That's Zhang. Princess While immediately jumps in like a proud hype woman, bragging that his abilities are top-notch. Zhang, though, changes the subject and asks her about Qi and what they call it in this world, because she reminds him of someone from his own world who was a Qi master. The Pope's reaction is telling. She definitely knows something, but her Qi is fading fast. She asks for time to rest, warning that if she stays like this, she'll die. Zhang isn't having that, so he whips out Excalibur to help regulate her Qi and calls Vivian over. This is when Weil, seeing Vivian for the first time, blurts out and calls her soft-boiled egg. And you just know Vivian's going to remember that one. Vivian starts stabilizing the Pope's Qi, and when the Pope regains a bit of energy, she suddenly freezes in shock after realizing Zhang is the wielder of Excalibur. Her face turns serious, and she warns that the Excalibur wielder must never be given the eternal crown. But before she can explain why, she breaks into coughing and can't go on. Definitely suspicious, and even Vivian is acting strange about it. Right then, King Ullens barges in, and without hesitation, sacrifices himself to summon his lord, the four-eyed demon that towers over everything in the sky. Zhang puts on the eternal crown, and instantly it's like the moment he first held Excalibur all over again. The demon starts launching huge monsters at them, but Zhang is able to hold off the attacks thanks to the crown. Turns out, like Excalibur, it boosts the rate at which he can absorb Qi. What no one notices is that while Vivian's tending to the Pope, she secretly cuts her Qi connection to everyone else so they can't hear the Pope's words. From the way they're talking, it's clear there's some long, complicated history between these two. Vivian, with this sly, almost villainous smile, tells the Pope they both have their own plans, but they're not necessarily enemies. The Pope shoots back with a question. What would Zhang think if he knew the truth? Vivian just smirks and says she's doing exactly what Zhang wants. The demon keeps attacking, sending wave after wave of those massive creatures. Zhang, overflowing with Qi, charges in using the heavy strike still as rock sword style. Seriously, who names these moves? Then the demon ups the stakes by reviving the remains of the 5 kings, turning them into twisted puppets that come at Zhang. But with the insane Qi control he has now, he crushes them easily. Still, channeling that much Qi through both the Eternal Crown and Excalibur is exhausting, and the crown itself feels like it's trying to slip out of his control. The demon then goes even further, linking the 5 kings' bodies together like some horrific Qi acupuncture array, blasting everyone in range. Zhang starts charging his Qi, but he's angry because this exact nightmare happened in his world, back in Song Xian sect, when this demon wiped out his people. And now, history's about to repeat itself. Only this time, he refuses to let it happen. He unleashes Excalibur and the crown at full power, gathering every last drop of Qi, and executes the sword of heavenly change, slicing straight through the demon. The demon collapses, defeated, but its Qi core remains. If Zhang can take it, he can destroy the demon completely and claim all that Qi for himself. That's when the Pope suddenly lashes out, unleashing her Qi at Zhang, forcing him to lose control. She does it deliberately, trying to delay Vivian's plans, and with that attack, her Qi vanishes entirely. Zhang, now unable to control the energy, watches as the Eternal Crown shatters into pieces. From the fragments, a dark, twisted Qi begins to swirl together, taking on the shape of a human. Turns out this evil Qi human has been sealed inside the Eternal Crown this whole time. Our spirit girl Vivian bolts toward Zhang, yelling at him to run for his life. But before he can even react, the human Qi makes a move. Its target? The Qi center of the four-eyed demon. Zhang tries to beat it there, but nope. The human Qi shuts him down instantly, locking him in place. And if that wasn't bad enough, it's now straight up hijacking Zhang's Qi like it's some kind of remote-controlled puppet. The four-eyed demon tries to blast them with 3 black energy balls, but instead of dodging, the human Qi just swallows the whole attack and crams it right into Zhang's body. Now it's forcing Zhang's cultivation to skyrocket all the way to Incarnation Phase Tier 6, and it's even trying to channel all that power into one insane attack, something on par with Tier 9. The real nightmare? It's burning through Zhang's life force just to chase the demon's Qi center. Vivian, thinking quick, remembers that earlier the party's Qi had been passively rising just by being near Zhang. She gathers all that Qi together, and then she grows into a massive soft-boiled egg and straight up devours the human Qi, buying Zhang a win window to make a move. Zhang reaches for the demon's chi center, but the moment he touches it, his armored arm shatters into pieces. He's burned through way too much chi, and the armor is falling apart. Vivian can't hold the human chi any longer, so she spits it out. The chi human immediately lunges for the demon's chi center and gulps it down. The second it does, the ground shakes, the area starts collapsing, and now the chi human begins merging with the four-eyed demon's chi center, greedily sucking in chi from everyone nearby. Zhang tries to suppress the power for a moment, but it's hopeless. He can't keep it up. That's when Lancelot jumps in to shield him, only for the chi human to kill him without hesitation. And it doesn't stop there. Galahad and his sisters are next, and soldiers around them are dropping like flies. Zhang reaches toward the chi again with his other hand, but it's destroyed too. Carl gets cut down, the princess charges in. Her sword snaps like a twig, and, you guessed it, Princess Well falls. At this point, Zhang is raging, because he's seen this exact kind of massacre before in his Miram world. He shouts at the chi human, declaring, "I am the master of Xing's sect, ZhangBao, and I'll put everything on the line against you." Hearing that name makes the chi human pause for a heartbeat. Then it snarls that it's because of the Xing sect it ended up like this, and it dives in to finish Zhang. But before it can, Vivian throws herself in the way. She unleashes her chi, and Excalibur starts pouring out an overwhelming energy. Then, using the forbidden secret art of Xing, Vivian activates reincarnation. Zhang suddenly finds himself in the ninth heavens, the very world he originally came from. At first, he thinks it's just some kind of hallucination, but Vivian explained the ninth heavens is real, and both she and Zhang are the illusions. She explains that because there's not enough chi, they could only use an incomplete version of the reincarnation technique, transferring just part of their consciousness back here. Now remember earlier when Vivian used one of the secret arts of Xing, something only people from this sect and this world can do? Turns out, she's actually the first sect master of Xing. Yep, our guy just got hit with a major lore drop. But that was ages ago, so long she's forgotten her original name. What she does remember is how this nightmare began. She once teamed up with the Pope to seal a part of the demon's power, but it came at a huge cost. Her body was transformed into chi and sealed inside Excalibur. She also lost chunks of her memory, only regaining them recently. And the part of the four-eyed demon's power they sealed, that ended up trapped in the eternal crown, taking on the shape of a human made of chi. Which means that strange chi-shaped human was actually a fragment of the demon itself. Even knowing all this, Zhang still can't forgive himself for the deaths of Princess Weil and the others. Vivian tries to spark some hope. The technique's time is almost up. She only came here briefly to hide, and now they have to head back to the Brest continent. On the way, they encounter chi-formed disciples of the Xing sect. Vivian explains these people had their chi ripped from their physical bodies by the demon. They're not alive, but not fully dead either. Because their chi has been separated for so long, recovery won't be easy. But Princess Weil and the others have only been separated for a short while, still stored within the demon, meaning if they deal enough damage, they can rescue and revive them. They make it back to Brest continent, and Excalibur is destroyed. Now Vivian can physically manifest outside the sword. Zhang, seeing her physical form like this, can't help but joke she looks like a dumpling, and honestly, after being trapped inside a sword for centuries, she's lucky he didn't say Bao Bun. With the sword damaged, there's nothing stopping her from reverting to her original form. The problem? They need a huge concentration of chi to repair Excalibur, but the air is flooded with evil chi. Vivian isn't thrilled about how weak the modern Xing sect has become, but she's got a plan. She starts teaching Zhang the heavenly change breathing technique, a method that lets you gather and condense chi even in a corrupted environment. Before he can even put the technique to proper use, trouble shows up. Cursed armors attack. Vivian switches to her chi form, multiplies herself, and fights them off, flexing her status as the first sect master. But then the cursed armors fuse into a giant, frenzied monster covered in eyes. Vivian's copies start getting devoured, and remember, she's only operating at 100 millionth of her full power right now. Just then, chi people from the ninth heavens begin surrounding Zhang, the same Xing disciples he connected with earlier when they returned from the ninth heavens. Their chi flows into him, and suddenly Zhang has enough energy to repair Excalibur and even regenerate his destroyed arms. With one mighty swing, he obliterates the multi-eyed monster. Of course, it's never that easy. More monsters show up. This time, the chi of the Xing disciples forms a shield around Zhang, protecting him while striking down enemies. Once the fight ends, the evil chi thins out enough for them to see ahead. And there it is, a massive black tower built entirely from the demon's evil chi. At its peak, Zhang can feel the chi of Princess Weil in the others, which also means the demon's up there too. Switching scenes, Princess Weil is indeed still alive, but only in chi form. The demon hears her and turns its attention toward her. King Ullens is there too, also in chi form. He explains the demon seems particularly interested in Weil, and despite absorbing countless others, she's the only one it released. Then, in a twisted move, the demon takes Weil's form for itself. Realizing Zhang and Vivian are climbing the tower, the demon merges with a colossal monster. The demon didn't waste a second and went straight for our guy. Zhang quickly countered with his heavenly lightning strike, but surprise, surprise, it didn't do a thing. Because this monster wasn't just swinging claws and teeth anymore. It could also use chi with lightning attributes, and not just lightning. We're talking lightning, fire, water, earth, and swamp. 5 different chi attributes at the same time, while the most Zhang has ever juggled is 4. But Zhang wasn't going to just roll over. He ordered the chi of the Zhang disciples to attack using their own elemental strengths, combining everything into a full-blown 5-element array. The battle lit up with this mix of powers, and even though they managed to bring the monster down, it was still moving, refusing to stay dead. Zhang didn't waste the opportunity. He used Excalibur to absorb the monster's chi. That move wasn't just about weakening the beast. It actually let him reconstruct and revive both Galahad and Lancelot right there on the battlefield. With those two back in action, the fight picked up again. Zhang spotted Princess while in her chi form, but before he could reach her, the demon locked eyes on them. Zhang explained to the others why the demon was walking around looking like Weil. After absorbing everyone's chi, it could reconstruct itself into their exact appearance. As they charged in, the demon turned the stairs of the massive tower into cursed armor stairs. And those stairs came alive and launched them way up into the sky. From there, the view of Brest Continent was, well, depressing. The entire world was almost lifeless. The demon had drained all its chi, and without chi, a world is basically dead. Before the stairs monster could shove them right off the tower, Zhang used Reconstruct to create a wall, blocking it in its tracks. Galahad and Lancelot followed up, smashing the monster back. But when they finally got close to the demon itself, he immobilized them instantly, freezing them in place. That's when Vivian stepped in from behind, her chi blade striking hard. The demon immediately recognized her. Turns out Vivian not only had history with the Pope, but also with this demon. Before they could press forward again, the demon pulled another nightmare move. It took King Clarence and fused him with the cursed armor stairs, creating this abomination whose face was now twisted into Princess Weil's likeness. Zhang gathered the chi of the Ninth Heaven's disciples and unleashed a secret technique, an area-wide attack so powerful it ripped through the monster and even took out part of the tower itself. But just when they thought they might be catching a break, the real problem showed up. From within the tower, a wave of massive evil chi poured out, shaping itself into a gigantic eye. This was the actual core of the demon, a monstrosity born entirely from the chi of this dying world. The demon suddenly started hearing these strange noises inside her head, and she couldn't stand it. Then, in a terrifying move, she merged completely with the actual core. Now, she wasn't just powerful, she was overloaded with so much chi that honestly, it looked like our squad didn't have a single card left to play against her. But don't count Vivian out yet. She's still a master of chi. Also, from here on, we're calling the demon She, and you'll see why soon enough. Vivian broke it down for us. The demon relies on chi to even move, which means if they can control her chi, they can control her. That was Zhang's opening. He raised Excalibur and forced the demon's chi to yield to him. Then something incredible happened. Zhang could see it all. Every strand of life, every tree, every person's chi. Using the overturning yin and yang technique, he created a massive ring of energy. He sent out his chi, speaking to everyone at once, telling them he would surround them all in a chi ring so they'd be connected. And it worked. Everyone's chi merged together, pushing back hard against the demon. Her energy started dropping, and those noises in her head were driving her crazy. Zhang seized the moment, charging in with Excalibur, but even weakened, she managed to block him. Then she said something chilling, that Princess Weil would die. Her words started getting more cryptic. She talked about 2 places that need chi, and how she planned to take chi from everywhere else to feed them. And when those 2 places finally needed chi again, she'd destroy everything until there was none left. Yup, no idea what that means yet, but Vivian made it clear we'll understand soon. Right now, Zhang was struggling to overpower her. Watching from the side were Weil and King Ullens. Ullens told Weil that the demon's total chi was far too great, and Zhang wouldn't last much longer. Weil, in her chi form, tried to rush to help him, but the surrounding evil chi burned her. And then, plot twist, when Weil got hurt, the demon also took damage. Turns out, because the demon had taken Weil's form, the 2 were now connected. If Weil dies, the demon dies too. So Weil decided to use that to her advantage, throwing herself into the evil chi over and over, hurting herself to weaken the demon. The demon, realizing what was happening, turned to try and suppress her, but Weil kept pushing through, pressing herself against the evil chi again and again. That's when Ullens asked her if she truly believed Zhang was the king who would end this calamity. Weil didn't hesitate, she'd fought alongside Zhang and was certain he would save their world. But Ullens wasn't done. He brought up something dark, that there were things Weil hadn't seen, like the Pope's attitude toward Zhang. Then he dropped the big one. What if the Pope once described Zhang's arrival as the death of this world? Weil wasn't buying it. She charged at Ullens, the clash sending waves of pain through her. But if that pain also tore into the demon, she was willing to endure it. With the demon weakened again, Zhang pushed forward for the finishing blow. But before he could land it, Ullens' chi suddenly vanished entirely. Weil's vision filled with his memories. She saw a conversation from from long ago, the Pope ordering him to monitor the demon and watch Excalibur. If the worst-case scenario came, he was to follow her exact instructions. She also warned him that taking on the demon's power while staying conscious would be unimaginably painful. Ullens had agreed without hesitation. That's when it all clicked. Even after becoming the Cursed Armor King, Ullens hadn't been serving the demon. He'd been working with the Pope all along. More mysteries were clearly brewing, and Vivian's expression showed she wasn't exactly thrilled with what this meant. While remembered Ullens's doubts about Zhang, but still kept her faith in him. And something tells me we're just scratching the surface of this mess. Now that Zhang's strikes were finally hitting their mark, he absorbed some of the demon's chi and used the reconstruct technique, bringing back every soldier and even the other kings who had been absorbed earlier. And Galahad? Yeah, he got his Alinus back. Meanwhile, people from the ninth heavens started roasting the locals, asking why anyone would wear such heavy armor in battle. Honestly, the shade was real. The demon's form began to shift. Since Zhang was pulling chi right out of her body, he was also draining the energy she used to maintain her appearance. Then came the big moment. Princess Wa was restored to her physical form. The noises in the demon's head got louder, gnawing at her mind until she couldn't take it anymore. In desperation, she released a highly concentrated mass of evil chi, forming a massive black sphere. If that thing exploded, Brest would be reduced to ashes. Zhang called on the spirit of everyone, his own people and the people of Brest. Anyone who wanted to save their world, raise your sword. And they did. Two worlds united, weapons in the air. Even Vivian joined in. With their combined strength, Zhang unleashed the secret technique, overflowing morale heavenly array. But the demon wasn't about to just sit there and let them win. She summoned cursed armors to keep them from surrounding her. As the soldiers charged, she let out a piercing scream, sending waves of condensed evil chi to block their approach. Zhang quickly used the chi he'd gathered from everyone to form tiny crowns over his party's heads, not for decoration, but to give them a telepathic link. He explained there was only one path to victory, and the chances weren't great. Still, he ordered them to press forward, take down the cursed armors, while he went straight for the demon. Vivian stepped up, holding back the dense evil chi so the soldiers could advance. They tore through the cursed armors, carving an opening for Zhang. The demon tried to blast them all away with another surge of dark power, but Galahad and Lancelot charged straight through it, nearly reaching her. She managed to block with the monster from earlier, shoving them back, but that gave Zhang the window he needed. He slipped in from behind, closed the distance, and landed a clean, solid hit on her. The demon's chi is coming back fast, healing her like nothing happened. That's when she's like, all right, I've had enough, and busts out one of the Tsong Xian secret techniques, Bone Marrow Phantom Scripture, with moves called All Chi Returns to Nothingness and World Reversal Reconstruct. Suddenly, creepy monsters pop up, blocking Zhang's path, and everything around her starts morphing into cursed armors. She's looking at Zhang like, why are you still even standing? But behind him, the whole crew is shouting their lungs out, telling him they believe in him. Our guy? He just smirks and says, because I am the strongest chi-wielding master in history, ZhangBao. Even with chaos eating away at the battlefield, he pushes through and clashes with her head-on. The demon starts feeling massive pain, confused about why this is happening, and to make it worse, her head is full of voices that won't shut up. She's ready to destroy everything just to silence them. And before you judge her, chill. Her story is actually really sad, and you'll see why soon enough. But before she can unleash her destruction, Zhang brings out the big guns. The heavenly spiritual treasure 8th tier reconstruction. A massive chi pillar bursts into the sky, but it's not enough, so he keeps going. Extreme Yang reconstruct Qian, Yu Qin Li, Zhen, Yi, and finally Kuan. Each one drains him badly, but it's worth it because these chi pillars aren't just for show. They've got something insane up their sleeve. She's furious now, telling Zhang he's clueless about everything, especially about what happened to the ninth heavens. She reveals that the world used chi wielding recklessly, and chi techniques themselves are like a disease, meaning destruction was inevitable. Then she pulls all her condensed evil chi together into one massive bomb meant to wipe out the world. But nothing happens. Instead, both she and Zhang get teleported somewhere else. Without wasting a second, Zhang dashes in and stabs her right in the heart. He explains that the heavenly spiritual 8th tier reconstruct created a chi array around them, an 8-hexagram array that existed even before chi techniques were invented, representing the birth of chi from nothingness. Right now, it's in a void state, meaning there's zero chi in the area. No chi means she can't control her bomb, and she can't regenerate either. In short, Zhang's basically got her checkmated. Surprisingly, instead of rage, the demon actually feels relief. She says that if a place like this existed back then, she wouldn't have suffered so much. Zhang doesn't hesitate. He delivers the final blow, telling her to choose a better path in her next life. With that, it's over. Zhang just saved the Brest continent, saved the world. The demon's life flickers for a moment, memories rushing back to when she was pure, not evil. Back then, someone told her she saved the world and the ninth heavens. And that someone, none other than Vivian. In the present, Vivian walks up to her. The demon asks if what Vivian said back then was true. Vivian confirms, but you can tell she's hiding something dark, something that could could change everything. Finally, after all these ages, the demon can rest. And here's the twist. This demon was actually the chi spirit of the ninth heavens. We'll get into that soon. Zhang finally manages to reconstruct the 8-hexagram array's circulating dial. This thing is no ordinary formation. It's like the ultimate chi lockbox. Then he whips out Excalibur and starts absorbing every last bit of chi from the demon, sealing it into the array. With that, the evil chi can't ravage the world anymore. The cursed armors? They're toast because without chi, they can't survive. The areas corrupted by that dark energy will heal too. In short, the cursed armor calamity is over. The news spreads like wildfire. Everyone's cheering. Relieved this long, brutal war is finally done. Even the princess is standing there, stunned, barely able to believe it's truly over. But before the victory party could even get started, Vivian pulls one of her mysterious moves. She yanks Zhang's consciousness straight into the Hall of Camelot. The place is glowing with endless light, and that's a big deal because it means Zhang's finally gathered enough chi to perform the secret art of transmigration. Translation: he can return to his own world, the ninth heavens. Vivian looks happy about it, but something feels off. It's like she's in a hurry for this to happen. Zhang wastes no time telling his friends from the ninth heavens they can go home. Sounds like goodbye. Princess, while doesn't take it well. After everything they've been through, he's leaving? And her reaction? Let's just say her teary-eyed, puff-cheek expression could probably make even a stone statue feel guilty. Zhang, of course, softens. He promises her he'll come back to see everyone if he gets the chance, thanking them for everything. But the soldiers aren't having a sad farewell. They grab him, toss him into the air, shouting that he's the one who saved them, and they're the ones who owe him thanks. With the 8-hexagram dial fully charged, it's time for the transportation technique. But before he starts, Wal puffs up her cheeks again and declares she's going to learn chi herself and come visit his world. Zhang smiles, then begins the secret reincarnation technique. That's when it happens. A wave of evil chi bursts out around them. It's the evil chi devouring phenomenon. Turns out, using the transmigration technique messes with breast's chi balance. Zhang moves to stop, but Vivian, wearing a dark expression, tells him to keep going. Then comes the twist. Vivian's voice turns cold as she tells him that even if he goes back, he can't save the ninth heavens. Why? Because the chi spirit of the ninth heavens, that demon he just fought, is gone, and without it, the ninth heavens doesn't have enough chi to sustain itself. And when there's not enough chi, collapse is inevitable. So why is she pushing for him to use the reincarnation technique? Vivian explains it's the only way left. If the damage to a world's life force is small, it can heal naturally. But if the damage passes a certain point, the only way to recover is to steal life force from another world. And when a world's chi runs out, you take it from somewhere else. The ugly truth? The reincarnation technique isn't a travel spell. It's a siphon, a way to drain chi from one world to rebuild another. Which means to save the ninth heavens, they'd have to sacrifice breast. While the others are horrified, Vivian responds by separating Zhang from the group with her chi. And yup, it's looking like she's the villain here, but not so fast. The ninth heavens is her home too, so she's not some random world destroyer. Still, her reasoning is chilling. She says it's better to wipe out breast to save her own world, especially since breast's people don't even know how to wield chi. Zhang tries to fight back, but Vivian blocks him, forcing a massive wave of chi to erupt from him. And this, my friends, is where we finally start to understand how it all began. The story flashes back thousands of years to the ninth heavens. The sun and moon keep turning, time races by, but the blue star of the ninth heavens remains. This is where it all started, when Vivian first appeared in that world. She brought with her the art of chi wielding, teaching people that they could make crops grow faster and control the world around them with chi. She was just 11 when she discovered chi's existence and invented the chi wielding technique. Before long, she started gathering people skilled in chi to train them, creating a group called the Chi Wielding Masters. The key to chi wielding? Emptying your heart and mind to establish something called the ZhangXin. And so, the legendary ZhangXin sect was born. 13 years ago, Vivian became the sect's first master. Within 10 years, chi wielding spread everywhere. Society, technology, culture, everything advanced faster than ever. This was the golden age of the ninth heavens. But then trouble started. The great tree at the mountain's peak withered. Across the land, plants and places began to decay, not from natural causes, but as if their life force had been stolen. They learned too late that chi wielding drained the world's life energy. Overuse meant the chi supply couldn't keep up, and the land would wither. But by then, it was impossible to stop. Chi wielding was everywhere. Vivian searched desperately for a solution, but found nothing until she met it, a chi in humanoid form, with the mind of a child. Every move it made released huge amounts of qi. But strangely, this qi didn't vanish or deplete the world's supply. Vivian didn't know why, but she knew this being was the key to saving the ninth heavens. She approached the childlike qi and asked it to join her in saving the world, promising that everyone would remember its name. That being, of course, was the qi spirit of the ninth heavens, the one who would one day become the four-eyed demon. The humanoid qi heard the word qi and just went wild, throwing it around like confetti made of pure life force. Vivian froze. What baffled her wasn't the energy. It was the fact that even with all that release, the total qi didn't drop. The surroundings stayed rich with it. So Vivian pulled out the big guns, the secret arts of ZhangBao's sky-changing heavenly lights. A ring formed above humanoid qi and started pulling in the energy. Vivian said she'd send the collected qi across the world to bring joy and relief to others. And humanoid qi could actually feel it. Each person receiving her flow lit up with happiness. For a long time afterward, Vivian leaned on the qi spirit's power to slowly restore the ninth heavens. She even gave that spirit a nickname, Lily. Over time, Lily felt drained, tired beyond words. She asked for a break, but Vivian showed her what would happen if qi stopped reaching the realm: suffering, loss, despair. Vivian said, "Just hold on a bit longer, until the realm replenishes instead of depleting." Lily agreed. She continued sharing her qi, fueled by a promise. Vivian would help her gain a human body one day, something Lily dreamed of. But their efforts weren't enough. The depletion was far worse than expected. No matter how much qi they poured in, the world kept breaking apart. More and more often, life forces vanished, and pain crept across the lands. The latest version of the sky-changing heavenly lights weighed heavily on Lily. Her waking hours shrunk. That's when she started hearing voices, people telling her to stop. The strange part, these weren't voices from the ninth heavens. They were coming from another world entirely. Vivian had always studied Lily, trying to understand her power. She realized something vital. Lily's qi didn't come from nothing. It came from somewhere else. From the very beginning, when Vivian first tapped into qi, she touched higher dimensional worlds. She merged into a massive current, the river of qi, and spotted enormous clusters far beyond. These clusters connected different worlds. Although all realms share the river, they typically don't affect one another. Legends tell of rare travelers who sense it. Lily was one of them. She could feel the river and even draw power from it. Most likely, she was pulling qi from the world closest to the ninth heavens. So those warnings, they made sense, because that assumption, the qi was infinite or from nowhere, completely wrong. When you take life force from another world, someone pays the price. How much had Lily already drained? Vivian didn't tell her. She kept that knowledge hidden, believing it was the only way to save her own world. But honestly, you can judge her. To me, Vivian feels pretty greedy, risking innocent lives in other worlds just to shield her own. Lily was slipping. The voices wouldn't stop. She was losing herself. Vivian held her tight and said, "One last time. Just once more. Then I'll help you become human." Poor Lily believed her. She reached for qi again. But this time, something shifted. Her face twisted, darkened. The surge in qi cracked open a gap to the river. Both Lily and Vivian were sucked in. The ninth heavens paid the price. The uncontrolled storm of qi and the river's backlash tore through the realm. People perished instantly. Vivian, once the proud first sect master of the ZhangBao sect, was gone. Nobody knew what happened to her. Inside the river, Vivian lost her body, existing only as qi. The current carried her to another world, linked through the river. Lily was also there, tormented by the voices. All those beings she drained, their corrupted remains turned into evil qi, energy that steals life without thought. Lily had followed Vivian's words, hoping to save others. But she became the one to suffer most. Unable to bear it anymore, she unleashed a black sphere capable of annihilating worlds. Vivian rushed to stop her but couldn't get close. She didn't have a body to channel qi effectively. Then came the strike that changed everything. Qi from another world pierced through, stunning Lily for a moment. That brief moment gave Vivian the chance to slow her down. The attack came from the Pope of the Breast world. That's when the truth landed hard. Lily had been draining qi from Breast all along. The first voices she heard, the ones pleading with her to stop, they belonged to the Pope, reaching Vivian through Lily. Vivian made a promise to stop. She'd take Lily away and quit stealing their qi. But the black sphere was still there, pulsing with destructive energy. The Pope and Vivian spoke at once, reaching one conclusion: Lily had to be sealed. She took them into Kingfisher Castle, where an ancient armor stood. And yes, you know this one. It's the same armor Zhang's soul was transferred into. The Pope revealed its origin. It belonged to Breast's first king. Blessed and infused with his aura, it was the only artifact powerful enough to contain Lily's energy. In order to suppress Lily's chaotic qi, Vivian and the Pope sealed her essence into relics of great power. Her qi went into the armor of the first king, her consciousness into the eternal crown, her ability to wield qi into the sword Excalibur, and the remains of her body into the king's torso. The Pope guarded the crown, Vivian took care of Excalibur, and the army kept the torso. They kept the whole sealing operation secret, and began searching for a way to deal with the ominous, evil qi swirling above. Without Lily's control, that qi became a black hole that consumed everything around it. Eventually, it started showing signs of consciousness. In the pitch-black void, slits of light appeared appeared like eyes. The people who witnessed this terrifying phenomenon named it the Lord of Four Eyes. It's possible this chi craved rebirth. By absorbing chi, it could seize a host body. Fallen knights were devoured and transformed into grotesque creatures known as cursed armors. The cursed armor calamity swept across the Brest continent like wildfire. As time passed, Vivian cultivated her chi quietly. Occasionally, she sensed remnants of her chi still lingering in the ninth heavens. One day, she detected signs that the ninth heavens were reawakening. Turns out, the source of this chi resurgence was Brest. Because the two worlds had previously been linked, some chi from Brest had flowed into the ninth heavens. Back when Lily was in control, she used chi from Brest to patch up the ninth heavens. Which means, Vivian now needed to sacrifice Brest to save the ninth heavens. Now tell me that isn't peak Vivian. Even after seeing what happened to Lily, she was still willing to sell out the Brest world to salvage a realm that's already in ruins. To make chi flow back into the ninth heavens, she had to reconnect with the river of chi through the world reconstruct technique. It demanded an enormous amount of chi. Brest had a lot of it, yes, but it was raw and unrefined. Absorbing it all in one go would be disastrous. Unless there was a place where chi was already concentrated. That place was the Lord of Four Eyes. Vivian couldn't touch it herself in her current state, so she set out to find someone strong enough to absorb that chi. At the time, the 11 kings were locked in battle with the cursed armors. Vivian used Excalibur to fabricate a legend. Whoever could draw the sword would put an end to the cursed armors and become the true king. But Vivian had rigged Excalibur. Anyone who touched it would have their chi drained. If you couldn't withstand this hidden trap, you'd never survive facing the four-eyed demon. Years went by. People from Brest who didn't understand chi came and died trying to pull the sword. Meanwhile, the Pope got word that the armor which sealed Lily's body had been stolen. Surprise, surprise, it was Vivian again. She used the chi gathered through Excalibur to open a micro-connection to the river of chi, aiming to summon someone's chi from the ninth heavens into Brest. The Pope caught up right before the ritual was complete, but Vivian went ahead with the technique anyway, bringing Zhang's chi into the world. That armor? It sealed the original body of the Lord of Four Eyes. Once Zhang merged with it, he would gain full control over the Lord's terrifying power. His chi entered the armor, and that's how he became the fearsome suit of armor we know now. At that moment, the Pope attacked Vivian and extracted part of her memory. With cursed armors closing in, the Pope thought Zhang's armor would be destroyed. What she didn't know was that Princess Weil and her soldiers were already there. Vivian returned to Excalibur while the Pope slipped into a deep slumber, having spent too much chi. When she came back to her physical form, she learned that the 11 kings had fallen. That's when she raised a pillar of chi in the sky and called out to all warriors. She told them they were standing at the edge of life and death for Brest, but there was still hope. She called on them to face their enemies with courage, uphold the spirit of knights, and believe in the truth even if it meant dying. In return, she promised strength and resilience and summoned them toward the beam of light. Now this is why I respect the Pope. She could have easily used the ninth heaven's chi to fix Brest but refused, knowing it would destroy the other world. Vivian, on the other hand, was more than ready to let Brest burn. The Pope's plan? Use the crown's holy light to attract a powerful figure. Let him wear it and influence Lily's consciousness locked within. If successful, they could divert the Lord of Four Eyes' power to a controllable region. Yes, destruction would happen, but Brest could still survive. Way smarter than Vivian's sacrifice-it-all approach. Fast forward to today. Princess Weil and her companions have witnessed all of this through memories. Weil is shaken. Zhang, the hero who once saved them, is now threatening to destroy Brest to fix his own world. And now, Vivian wants him to decide what comes next. So here we are. One life, one world, one choice. Zhang holds the fate of two realms in his hands. Zhang stood in silence. Not because he had some genius plot cooking. He just didn't know what to say. People surrounded him, demanding answers. And when one of the kings yanked off his helmet, they saw he has no body, just empty armor. The same suit that had saved them was now being called a cursed monster. And even as they swung at him, Zhang wouldn't lift a finger against them. Then evil chi started oozing from the circulating dial of the 8-hexagram array. Soldiers sprinted over, trying to destroy the hexagram. Zhang called out, "Hold up." His disciples' chi was within that hexagram. Smashing it would wreck them too. But nope, they didn't listen. Clouded by everything they'd learned about Vivian and the Pope, they started tearing it apart. So Zhang was forced to fight, not for glory, but for his people inside. Soldiers tried to block him from reaching the hexagram. And while Zhang could feel their desperation to save their world, he wasn't about to watch his own crumble either. So he activated the reincarnation technique. The chi from Brest started flowing into the hexagram. Princess Weil, losing her mind. The man who'd saved them all now looked ready to sink their entire world. Zhang didn't sugarcoat it. He told her plain and simple. He was here to save his world. Then he blasted her away with his chi. Carl rushed to destroy the hexagram, but Zhang shut him down with a burst of thunder. And at that exact moment, Carl, of all people, decided now's the time to talk about food. He brought up the Million Dragons Feast, this ultra-refined cuisine made using ingredients from every corner of Brest. It's a dish only the most honored could taste. Carl's dream wasn't just to make it, but to serve it to someone worthy. He once believed Zhang could be that person. But now, Carl said he'd rather feed it to pigs than let Zhang touch it. Carl tried pushing the hexagram off a cliff created by the quake, and again Zhang stopped him instantly. The kings and soldiers threw themselves at Zhang, and he swatted them away without even moving. Then Galahad and Lancelot stepped in, but even they couldn't touch him. The only one left standing was Princess Weil. She stepped forward, ready to fight. Zhang hesitated. He couldn't bring himself to hit her. But Weil didn't hold back. She struck, and part of Zhang's armor shattered. At that exact moment, evil Qi lashed out at her. Weil screamed at Zhang to stop everything. And as her voice rang out, she released a burst of Qi. King Ullins, who we all assumed was long gone, turns out to be alive. Back when he disappeared, he had left part of his Qi inside Weil, along with the Pope's Qi. That's how she was able to use Qi just now. Now she's able to tap into the last remnants of the Pope's power. Translation: Weil is now Brest's final hope. And the stage is set. ZhangBao versus Princess Weil. Weil, inheritor of Carrion City, going head-to-head with ZhangBao, 12th sect master of Tsang Xn. Zhang lunged in first, blades clashed, and Weil? She didn't even flinch. She wasn't just holding her ground. She was holding everything she'd been through with Zhang, refusing to budge even a breath. Then she charged, both of them trading blows like they were reading each other's thoughts in real time. Things turned when Weil got hit with a surge of Qi, but she pushed Zhang back. For a moment, the tide shifted. Zhang fired back with a massive blast of fire that knocked her sword clean out of her hands and snapped it in two. The soldiers scrambled, tossing her replacement swords left and right, but they all dropped around her. Zhang wasn't letting her catch a break. Just as Weil darted to grab her broken blade, Zhang was already towering over her like, "Give up," but Weil pulled a slick move. She activated Qi wielding. All those swords Zhang knocked away earlier, they still had traces of her Qi. She linked them together, unleashed it, and Zhang got frozen in place. That wasn't even the end of it. Weil channeled her Qi into the others, and suddenly everyone was sprinting at Zhang, trying to take him down. Zhang broke free, but Carl, Lancelot, and Galahad hit him with a synchronized. Did it land? Technically. Did it stop Zhang? Not even close. He fed Qi into Excalibur, made it grow, and blasted them all back. Weil tried to empower her allies again, but Vivian stepped in. She held everyone off, letting Zhang press forward, but Zhang told her, "Enough, you've got your own agenda." The guy clearly had something big in mind, so Vivian let go. And here comes the mob, soldiers sprinting at Zhang from all sides. He didn't even lift a weapon, just kept walking forward. Then Weil gathered Qi from the galaxy. She channeled it into a pillar of light that dropped from the skies like cosmic judgment, slamming Zhang down and pinning him hard. For a second, you thought, this is it. But Zhang wasn't done. He looked up, thanked Weil, and then with one swing, he blew every soldier away. He activated the hexagram, whispered his goodbye. And with that, the ninth heaven was about to be reborn. Brest was doomed, or so we thought. Everyone was in shock. Their world was about to vanish. Zhang floated in midair, glowing like a living beacon of Qi. Vivian flew up beside him. She explained that now that Zhang had activated the world reconstruction technique, he himself had turned into Qi. They were floating within the river of Qi, a cosmic channel linking entire realities. The plan was simple, or so they thought. Qi from Brest would be transferred to restore the ninth heavens. And at first it worked. Ninth heavens began healing. But Brest? It started crumbling, breaking apart bit by bit. Vivian apologized, saying that the ninth heavens held Zhang's roots and memories. Sacrificing Brest was a necessary cruelty. But Zhang wasn't all in on that idea. Floating there, surrounded by infinite energy, he spoke, sympathy weighing heavier than sorrow. Whether it was Brest, the ninth heavens, or even Vivian, he knew facing everything alone and choosing self-sacrifice wasn't the answer. That kind of solution usually led to disaster. Then came the curveball. The Qi wasn't flowing into the ninth heavens as planned. It was scattering, heading for the branches of the river of Qi, which weren't one-way streets. They split off into endless paths, sucking Qi into the void. If that kept up, both Brest and the ninth heavens would be drained dry. Zhang thought back to when he first arrived in Brest. Back then, he didn't care. He was just out for revenge against the Lord of Four Eyes and saw Weil and the rest as pawns, outsiders whose fate didn't matter to him. It was just tactical teamwork, like two rivers meeting temporarily and drifting apart. But that kind of connection? It's fragile. One side gets used up, the other walks away richer. Zhang saw the river of Qi acting the same way, so he did the unexpected. He hurled his Qi at his physical body, the suit of armor, and ordered it to destroy itself, unleashing a massive wave. Vivian, horrified, warned him. As the technique's main activator, disrupting the river could cause chaos. But that's exactly what Zhang wanted. Trigger those branches. Release them completely. Vivian thought it was foolish. More branches meant more paths to drain their Qi. Darkness started closing in, the kind that doesn't ask for permission. If it continued, their world would fade into nothing. Vivian tried stopping him, thinking he'd end up like Lily, consumed by madness. She lunged, but something held her back. Zhang turned with a smile. It's here. Qi flooded in like tidal waves, streaming through branches from places they didn't even know existed. Zhang revealed that every time he used Excalibur to wield Qi, he could sense it coming from distant worlds. Now, by linking Brest Brest and the ninth heavens, he created a superhighway, chi flowing in from everywhere. Vivian looked at him like he'd grown a second head. How could he form full connections when Lily struggled to make even a small one? And this is where our guy drops the line. As the greatest chi wielder in history, this is pretty normal. Classic Zhang moment. Vivian, still trying to poke holes, said it felt like a repeat of past mistakes. Zhang countered. Instead of pulling from one world and causing damage, millions of worlds were now connected. They'd borrow tiny bits from each. Minimal impact, but it'd be enough to restore everything. That kind of vast connection needed someone to maintain it. So Zhang made his choice. He'd stay behind and become the pathfinder of chi. And it worked. The ninth heavens began reconstruction. Breast stopped collapsing. Life returned. Princess Wal knew instantly it was Zhang. Chi from every world flowed through him. Lily's chi appeared. She was alive. Her essence drifted toward a new beginning. Vivian, guilt-ridden, apologized for everything Lily had endured because of her. Zhang reassured her. Lily, as the spirit of chi, understood Vivian's intentions. It was time to let her go down her own path. Then Zhang turned to Vivian, gently pushed her away, and told her to live her life too. Vivian, eyes teary, asked why he had to carry the burden. All of it started with her, yet Zhang was the one staying behind. She told him to come back once the ninth heavens were fully healed. But Zhang couldn't leave. Now that he'd touched the currents of every world, he saw people, countless souls, facing the same chaos, same desperation. People like Vivian, like himself. Maintaining this link, even just lending a drop of strength to each world, was worth staying. This was his new path, not as a warrior, not just a savior, but the quiet guardian watching over infinite worlds, keeping their chi alive. Back in the Brest world, things finally calmed down. The glowing light in the sky faded. The earthquake? Gone. Peace at last. Wal didn't waste a second. She rushed toward Zhang's armor, now resting in a field blooming with soft, radiant flowers. It looked more like a memorial than a battlefield. The remaining essence of the Pope's chi spoke. The voice said they could finally feel chi again. Ever since the cursed armor catastrophe began, the continent had been groaning in pain. But now, the groans were gone, and for the first time in ages, Brest was singing its true melody. Galahad and Lancelot stood confused, unsure of who had saved their world. That's when Wal stepped forward and gently placed her hand on Excalibur. Instantly, everything Zhang and Vivian had spoken about during their time in the river of chi flooded into her vision. Tears rolled down her cheeks as she turned to the others. It was Zhang, she said, voice trembling but proud. Zhang saved us. And just like that, Brest's story found its moment of peace. A happy ending written in sacrifice and strength, all thanks to him. Years passed. Carrion City was reborn from ashes, shimmering with new life. Peace had become more than a dream. It was the new reality. Carl wandered through the market, gathering ingredients, now officially a chef. And listen, he was already whipping up magic back then, but now, he made cooking look like a martial art. The guy even became known for his signature dish at Carrion's Heavenly Gift, the restaurant now housing the legendary hexagram that Zhang once created. They didn't just leave it there collecting dust. They repurposed it as a war table, the kind where kings and knights gather, maps spread out, and destiny gets plotted. Lancelot had a plan. He summoned everyone to establish a united Brest Knight regiment. Of course, naming it became a full-blown debate. Grown warriors squabbling like school kids over the coolest name. But finally, Lancelot struck gold. They called it the Knights of the Round Table. Swords were raised. Oaths were spoken. They pledged to protect Brest through any danger or disaster, no matter how fierce. And while she spent time among the flowers that now bloomed around Zhang's armor, she had matured, no longer just a warrior or a princess. She radiated grace, strength, and wisdom. Easily the most stunning figure in Carrion City. But inside, she was still figuring things out. Even with peace, she felt lost. Yet she vowed to keep moving forward. That day, she stood before Zhang's armor and reached out to Excalibur, maybe hoping that somehow it would summon him back. Just then, a voice cut through. A young man arrived, introducing himself as a sword trainee from the castle. Apparently, there was a big fighting competition happening soon, the Million Dragons Feast, and he was asked to bring his master a sword. But all the ones in the yard were taken. He remembered seeing one here. You guessed it, he pointed to Excalibur, while turned, eyes fierce. Pulling that sword might cost you your life. The young man, zero hesitation. Rubbish, he said. Those rumors might scare regular people, not me. The princess blinked in surprise, then slowly broke into a smile. What's your name? She asked. Arthur. Fast forward to the future. No mystical floating mountains or cosmic beasts this time. We're in a world that looks pretty familiar. Modern buildings, clean streets, probably an annoying amount of Wi-Fi passwords to remember. Yes, we're on Earth. And look who's here. Vivian, glowing like a goddess as usual. She's tracked down Lily, whose chi ended up in a realm similar to the ninth heavens. Vivian did something incredible. She helped Lily build a brand new body, finally giving her the fresh start she always dreamed of. Lily's even picked out a new name, Jasmine. But while Jasmine is off starting her new chapter, Vivian, she's tied to one particular soul. You already know, Zhang, our living legend still wearing that armor from Brest like it's casual Friday. They're both here in this modern world for a reason. Turns out Earth is overflowing with chi, and it has the most stable connections to the river of chi. That makes it the ideal hub for Zhang's multi-world chi flow to stay balanced. Basically, Zhang turned Earth into an interdimensional chi router. And what is our guy doing with all this cosmic energy swirling around? Sitting like a chill boss, reading the manhwa of his own story. Zhang mentioned he plans to return to Brest soon, and surprisingly, he and Wal are still spiritually connected somehow. Even across dimensions, that bond hasn't broken. A super cute girl walks up to them and spots Zhang still rocking that legendary cursed armor. She points at him and goes, "Hey, are you cosplaying the guy from Cursed Armor?" She thinks he's just a fan of the popular manhwa because the series is a big hit here. This girl knows the story down to every dramatic sword swing. She gushes about the Cursed Armor hero who pulled Excalibur, won over legendary heroes with charisma, and gave everyone strength to push forward. She's fangirling hard and has no clue she's talking to the actual guy from the manhwa. She mentions that the manhwa ended and asks if Zhang could continue it somehow. Then she leans in and says, "If you really are that person, could you give me some strength?" Zhang steps forward, gently places her hood over her head, and says, "You already wear the armor of bravery." He tells her it's not visible because it's made of chi. She blinks, totally confused. "How do you know it'll work out?" And in true Zhang fashion, he responds with, "Mere mortals wouldn't understand it." And that, my friends, is where this incredible tale wraps up. One legend ends, and another begins.